What if I told you that a single artifact, buried for thousands of years, could rewrite everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations? Picture this: a small, intricately carved stone tablet discovered in the ruins of an ancient city in Mesopotamia bears symbols eerily similar to those found on a temple wall in distant Peru. How could two cultures separated by oceans and millennia share such striking similarities? This is just one of the many strange connections between ancient civilizations that defy our understanding of history. These links, scattered across time and geography, suggest a world far more interconnected than we ever imagined. From shared myths and symbols to identical architectural techniques, these connections challenge the very foundations of what we know about humanity's past. In this video, we'll uncover 50 of these mind-bending links, each one a piece of a puzzle that hints at a deeper, hidden story. Stay with us, because by the end of this journey, you'll see history in a whole new light, one where the ancient world was far more united than we ever thought possible. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most iconic structures in human history, the pyramids. But here's where things get fascinating. While the pyramids of Giza in Egypt are world famous, did you know that strikingly similar structures exist halfway across the globe in Mesoamerica? Specifically, the pyramids of Teotihuacan in modern-day Mexico. At first glance, these two ancient cultures seem worlds apart, separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. Yet their pyramids share uncanny similarities that have left historians and archaeologists scratching their heads. First, let's talk about alignment. The Great Pyramid of Giza is precisely aligned with the cardinal directions north, south, east, and west, with an accuracy that baffles modern engineers. Similarly, the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan is also aligned with remarkable precision, not just to the cardinal directions but also to celestial events. Both structures seem to have been designed with a deep understanding of astronomy, suggesting that their builders shared a sophisticated knowledge of the stars. Next, consider the construction techniques. The pyramids of Giza were built using massive limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 2.5 tons, meticulously cut and fitted together without the use of mortar. The pyramids of Teotihuacan, while constructed with different materials like volcanic stone, also display incredible precision in their stonework. The builders of both sites achieved feats of engineering that would be challenging even with today's technology. How did these ancient cultures, separated by thousands of miles, develop such advanced building methods? But perhaps the most intriguing connection lies in their shared astronomical knowledge. The pyramids of Giza are thought to align with the stars of Orion's belt, a constellation that held great significance in Egyptian mythology. Similarly, the layout of Teotihuacan mirrors the positions of celestial bodies, with its main structures corresponding to the sun, moon, and planets. Could these similarities be mere coincidence, or do they point to a deeper, shared understanding of the cosmos? As we piece together these connections, one thing becomes clear: the ancient world was far more interconnected than we often assume. Whether through trade, migration, or some other form of cultural exchange, it's possible that these civilizations shared ideas and knowledge that influenced their monumental achievements. And this is just the beginning. As we move forward, we'll uncover even more astonishing links that challenge our understanding of history. So stay with us, because the next connection might just blow your mind. Now let's journey to the lush jungles of ancient Mexico, where another mystery awaits: the colossal stone heads of the Olmec civilization. These massive sculptures, some weighing as much as 20 tons, are among the most striking artifacts of the ancient Americas. But what makes them truly fascinating is the ongoing debate about their origins. Many scholars and enthusiasts have noted that the facial features of these heads, broad noses, full lips, and distinctively shaped eyes, bear a striking resemblance to those of African peoples. This observation has sparked a heated discussion. Could there have been contact between ancient Africa and the Americas long before the age of European exploration? The Olmec civilization, often referred to as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourished between around 1200 and 400 BCE. They are credited with laying the groundwork for later civilizations like the Maya and Aztecs. Yet, the origins of their artistic style and the inspiration behind their colossal heads remain shrouded in mystery. Some researchers argue that the similarities between the Olmec heads and African features are purely coincidental, a result of artistic expression rather than direct contact. Others, however, propose a more radical theory that ancient Africans may have crossed the Atlantic Ocean, bringing their cultural and artistic influences to the Americas. This idea of transoceanic contact is not without its challenges. The Atlantic Ocean is vast, and the technology required for such a journey would have been extraordinary for its time. Yet, there are intriguing pieces of evidence that keep the debate alive. For instance, certain plants like the bottle gourd are believed to have been carried across the ocean by ancient peoples. Additionally, linguistic and cultural parallels between African and Mesoamerican societies have been pointed out, though these connections remain speculative. One of the most compelling arguments for African influence comes from the sheer scale and craftsmanship of the Olmec heads. Carved from basalt, a hard volcanic rock, these sculptures required not only advanced stone-working techniques, but also a deep understanding of human anatomy. The level of detail in the facial features suggests that the Olmec artists were depicting real individuals, possibly leaders or deities. If these individuals were of African descent, it would imply a level of cultural exchange that rewrites our understanding of ancient global connections. Of course, the debate is far from settled. Critics of the African influence theory point out that the Olmec heads could simply reflect the diversity of facial features within the indigenous population of ancient Mexico. After all, human populations are incredibly varied, and artistic representations often exaggerate certain traits for symbolic or stylistic purposes. Without concrete evidence of transoceanic voyages, the theory remains in the realm of speculation. Yet the possibility of such a connection is tantalizing. If ancient Africans did reach the Americas, it would mean that the world was far more interconnected than we've traditionally believed. It would also challenge the narrative that the Americas were isolated from the rest of the world until the arrival of Europeans. As we continue to explore these ancient mysteries, one thing is certain: the Olmec colossal heads are a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of their creators, whoever they may have been. And as we move forward, we'll uncover even more connections that blur the lines between continents and cultures. So stay tuned, because the next link in this chain of ancient mysteries might just reshape our understanding of history. Now let's set sail across the Mediterranean to explore another fascinating connection, this time between the Minoans of Crete and the ancient Egyptians. These two civilizations, separated by the sea, were far more interconnected than one might assume. The Minoans, known for their vibrant frescoes and advanced maritime culture, thrived between around 2600 and 1400 BCE. Meanwhile, ancient Egypt was at the height of its power, building pyramids and establishing itself as a dominant force in the ancient world. But what linked these two cultures? Trade, art, and a shared fascination with each other's worlds. The Minoans were master seafarers, and their ships carried goods and ideas across the Mediterranean. Archaeological evidence reveals that they traded extensively with Egypt, exchanging luxury items like olive oil, wine, and pottery for Egyptian papyrus, gold, and precious stones. This exchange wasn't just about goods, it was about culture. Minoan frescoes found in Egyptian tombs and Egyptian artifacts discovered in Crete tell a story of mutual admiration and influence. For instance, the Minoans adopted Egyptian artistic motifs, such as the use of lotus flowers and papyrus reeds in their artwork, while Egyptian art began to reflect Minoan styles, particularly in depictions of marine life and flowing, naturalistic forms. One of the most striking examples of this cultural exchange is the Minoan frescoes found in the Egyptian city of Avaris. These frescoes, depicting bull leaping and other Minoan themes, suggest that Minoan artists may have worked in Egypt, bringing their unique style to a foreign land. Similarly, Egyptian artifacts, including scarabs and pottery, have been unearthed in Minoan palaces, indicating that the admiration went both ways. This blending of artistic traditions highlights how these two civilizations influenced each other, creating a shared visual language that transcended geographical boundaries. But the connection goes deeper than art. The Minoans and Egyptians also shared a practical approach to trade. Olive oil, a staple of the Minoan economy, was highly prized in Egypt, where it was used for cooking, lighting, and even religious rituals. In return, the Minoans imported papyrus, which they used for record-keeping and as a medium for their vibrant artwork. This exchange of goods wasn't just about economics. It was a way for these cultures to learn from each other, adopting new technologies and ideas that enriched their societies. The relationship between the Minoans and Egyptians wasn't just one-sided. While the Minoans were influenced by Egyptian art and religion, they also left their mark on Egypt. The Minoan emphasis on naturalistic art and their depictions of marine life can be seen in later Egyptian art, suggesting that the exchange of ideas flowed in both directions. This mutual influence challenges the notion that ancient civilizations existed in isolation, instead painting a picture of a world where cultures were constantly interacting, learning, and evolving together. As we piece together the evidence of this ancient connection, it becomes clear that the Minoans and Egyptians were more than just trading partners. They were cultural collaborators. Their shared artistic motifs and the exchange of goods like olive oil and papyrus reveal a world where ideas and innovations traveled as freely as ships across the Mediterranean. This connection reminds us that even in the ancient world, no civilization was truly alone. And as we continue our journey through these strange connections, we'll uncover even more examples of how the past was far more interconnected than we often imagine. So stay with us, because the next link in this chain of ancient mysteries might just surprise you. Now, let's journey from the Mediterranean to the arid plains of southern Peru, where one of the most enigmatic mysteries of the ancient world awaits: the Nazca lines. These massive geoglyphs, etched into the desert floor over 2,000 years ago, have puzzled archaeologists and historians for decades. Stretching across hundreds of square kilometers, the Nazca lines depict a variety of shapes, from simple geometric patterns to intricate depictions of animals, plants, and even human-like figures. But what was their purpose, and could they hold clues to the astronomical knowledge of the Nazca people? The Nazca lines are more than just impressive works of art. They are a testament to the ingenuity and precision of their creators. The lines were made by removing the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles that cover the desert surface, revealing the lighter-colored earth beneath. This technique, combined with the sheer scale of the designs, suggests that the Nazca people had a deep understanding of geometry and spatial organization. But some researchers believe that the lines may have served a higher purpose, acting as a kind of astronomical calendar or map. One of the most compelling theories is that the Nazca lines were used to track celestial events, such as the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. For example, some of the lines align with the solstices, the times of year when the sun reaches its highest or lowest point in the sky. This alignment suggests that the Nazca people may have used the lines to mark important dates in their agricultural or ceremonial calendar. Similarly, certain animal figures, like the famous hummingbird and spider, may have been associated with specific constellations or celestial phenomena. But the Nazca lines aren't the only example of ancient cultures using geoglyphs to connect with the cosmos. In other parts of the world, similar practices can be found. For instance, the ancient Egyptians built their pyramids and temples with precise alignments to the stars. particularly the constellation Orion, which they associated with the god Osiris. Similarly, the Maya of Mesoamerica created elaborate astronomical observatories and used their knowledge of the stars to develop highly accurate calendars. Even the ancient Greeks and Romans incorporated celestial symbolism into their architecture and art, reflecting their fascination with the heavens. What makes the Nazca Lines unique, however, is their sheer visibility from above. While many ancient astronomical sites are best appreciated from the ground, the Nazca geoglyphs are most striking when viewed from the air. This has led some to speculate that the Nazca people may have had a way to observe the lines from above, perhaps using hot air balloons or kites. While there's no definitive evidence to support this theory, it raises intriguing questions about the technological capabilities of the Nazca civilization. The connection between the Nazca Lines and ancient astronomy highlights a recurring theme in human history: our enduring fascination with the stars. Whether it's the pyramids of Egypt, the observatories of the Maya, or the geoglyphs of the Nazca, ancient cultures around the world look to the heavens for guidance, inspiration, and meaning. The Nazca Lines remind us that even in the most remote corners of the world, people were capable of extraordinary feats of creativity and ingenuity. And as we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient geoglyphs, we gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of human knowledge and imagination. So, as we leave the desert plains of Peru behind, let's carry with us the wonder of the Nazca Lines and the questions they inspire. What other secrets might these ancient markings hold? And how might they connect to the broader tapestry of human history? The answers, like the stars themselves, may be just out of reach, but the journey to uncover them is as fascinating as the mysteries themselves. Stay with us, because the next connection we explore might just shine a new light on the ancient world. Now, shifting our gaze from the skies above Peru to the fertile river valleys of the ancient world, we arrive at the remarkable connection between the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia. These two civilizations, separated by vast distances, shared more than just the title of being among the earliest urban societies. They were deeply intertwined through trade, culture, and innovation. The Indus Valley, located in what is now modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, and Mesopotamia, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in present-day Iraq, were powerhouses of their time, and their interactions reveal a fascinating web of exchange. One of the most striking pieces of evidence for this connection lies in the discovery of Indus Valley seals in Mesopotamian cities like Ur and Kish. These small, intricately carved stone seals, often featuring images of animals and symbols, were used for marking goods and documents. Remarkably, similar seals have been found in both regions, suggesting a thriving trade network that spanned thousands of kilometers. The presence of Indus Valley goods such as beads, pottery, and textiles in Mesopotamian sites further underscores the extent of this exchange. It's clear that these civilizations weren't just neighbors, they were active participants in a shared economic and cultural system. But the connections go beyond trade goods. Both the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia developed sophisticated urban planning techniques that reflect a shared understanding of city life. The cities of the Indus Valley, such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, were laid out in grid patterns with advanced drainage systems and standardized brick sizes. Similarly, Mesopotamian cities like Uruk and Babylon were known for their monumental architecture, ziggurats, and complex irrigation systems. These parallels suggest that ideas about urban living and infrastructure may have traveled along the same routes as goods, influencing both civilizations in profound ways. Symbolism also played a key role in bridging these two cultures. The Indus Valley script, though still undeciphered, shares some visual similarities with early Mesopotamian cuneiform. While we may never fully understand the meaning behind these symbols, their existence hints at a possible exchange of ideas about writing and communication. Additionally, both cultures used animal motifs in their art, with bulls and other creatures appearing prominently in seals and sculptures. These shared symbols may have served as a kind of visual language, helping to facilitate trade and cultural exchange across linguistic barriers. What's truly remarkable about the connection between the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia is how it challenges our understanding of ancient isolation. These civilizations, despite being separated by deserts, mountains, and seas, found ways to connect and influence one another. Their shared innovations in trade, urban planning, and symbolism remind us that even in the ancient world, human societies were far more interconnected than we often assume. As we reflect on this fascinating link between the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia, it's worth considering how these early exchanges laid the groundwork for the globalized world we live in today. The trade routes that once carried goods and ideas between these ancient cities were the precursors to the Silk Road and other networks that would shape human history. So, as we move forward in our exploration of strange connections between ancient cultures, let's keep in mind the enduring legacy of these early pioneers of globalization. The next connection we uncover might just reveal another layer of this intricate tapestry of human history. Now, as we journey from the bustling trade routes of the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia, we find ourselves stepping into the realm of ancient texts and shared mythologies. Our next connection takes us to the fascinating parallels between the Vedic texts of ancient India and the sacred writings of ancient Persia. These two traditions, though rooted in different lands, reveal a deep and undeniable link that points to a common Indo-Iranian heritage. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest known texts in the world, is a cornerstone of Vedic literature and a treasure trove of hymns, rituals, and philosophical insights. Similarly, the ancient Persian texts, particularly the Avesta, serve as the foundational scripture of Zoroastrianism, offering a glimpse into the spiritual and cultural life of ancient Persia. What's striking is how these texts, despite emerging from distinct cultures, share remarkable linguistic and mythological similarities. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence lies in the language itself. Both the Rig Veda and the Avesta are composed in ancient forms of Indo-Iranian languages, which belong to the larger Indo-European language family. Words and phrases in these texts often mirror each other, suggesting a shared linguistic ancestry. For instance, the Vedic term Deva, meaning God, corresponds to the Avestan Deva, which refers to divine beings. Even more intriguing is the contrast in their meanings over time. While Deva became associated with benevolent deities in Vedic tradition, Deva took on a more negative connotation in Zoroastrianism, representing malevolent spirits. This linguistic divergence reflects the evolving cultural and religious landscapes of these two civilizations. Mythological parallels further deepen this connection. Both traditions feature a pantheon of gods and cosmic forces, with striking similarities in their roles and attributes. The Vedic god Mitra, associated with contracts and friendships, finds his counterpart in the Persian Mithra, a deity of covenants and light. Similarly, the Vedic god Varuna, the guardian of cosmic order, shares traits with the Persian Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism. These shared figures suggest a common mythological framework that predates the split between the Vedic and Persian traditions. Another fascinating link lies in the concept of dualism, which plays a central role in both traditions. The Rig Veda introduces the idea of cosmic order, or Rita, which governs the universe and maintains balance. In the Avesta, this concept is echoed in the struggle between Ahura Mazda, the force of good, and Angra Mainyu, the force of evil. This dualistic worldview, though expressed differently, underscores a shared philosophical foundation that influenced both cultures. The connection between the Vedic texts and ancient Persian writings isn't just a matter of linguistic or mythological coincidence, it's a testament to a shared heritage that stretches back thousands of years. These parallels remind us that the ancient world was far more interconnected than we often realize, with ideas and beliefs traveling across vast distances and shaping the spiritual and cultural landscapes of entire civilizations. As we reflect on this profound link between the Vedic and Persian traditions, we're reminded of the enduring power of shared stories and languages to bridge divides and connect humanity across time and space. This connection not only enriches our understanding of these ancient cultures, but also invites us to explore the deeper roots of our collective heritage. And as we continue our journey through the strange connections between ancient cultures, we'll uncover even more threads that weave together the tapestry of human history. Now, shifting our gaze to the skies and the passage of time, we uncover another remarkable connection between ancient cultures, this time between the Mayan civilization of Mesoamerica and the ancient Hindu traditions of India. Both cultures developed intricate systems of timekeeping that reflect a profound fascination with the vastness of cosmic time, revealing a shared desire to understand humanity's place within the grand tapestry of the universe. The Mayan long count calendar is one of the most sophisticated timekeeping systems ever created. Unlike the Gregorian calendar we use today, which measures time in years, the long count operates on a much larger scale, tracking time in cycles that span thousands of years. At its core is the concept of the Great Cycle, a period of approximately 5,125 years, which the Maya believed marked the creation and eventual transformation of the world. This system wasn't just a tool for tracking days or seasons. It was a way to connect human existence to the rhythms of the cosmos. Similarly, the Hindu tradition introduces us to the concept of yuga cycles, vast epochs that define the progression of time and the evolution of human consciousness. According to Hindu cosmology, time is divided into 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, each representing a different stage of moral and spiritual development. Together, these 4 yugas form a Maha Yuga, a cycle lasting approximately 4,320,000 years. Beyond this, 1,000 Maha Yugas make up a single day in the life of Brahma, the creator god, illustrating the staggering scale of Hindu timekeeping. What's striking about these two systems is their shared emphasis on cyclical time. Both the Mayan long count and the Hindu yuga cycles view time not as a linear progression but as a series of repeating patterns where creation, destruction, and renewal are inevitable parts of the cosmic order. This cyclical worldview reflects a deep understanding of the impermanence of existence and the interconnectedness of all things. Another fascinating parallel lies in the symbolic significance of numbers. The Mayan long count is based on a Vajrasamal or base 20 system, which aligns with their reverence for the number 20 as a representation of completeness. Similarly, Hindu cosmology places great importance on specific numbers, such as the 4 yugas and the 1,000-fold cycles of Brahma's days and nights. These numerical frameworks serve as more than just mathematical tools. They are symbolic expressions of cosmic harmony and balance. Both cultures also used their timekeeping systems to guide spiritual and societal practices. For the Maya, the long count calendar was integral to rituals, prophecies, and the timing of significant events, such as the dedication of temples. In Hinduism, the yuga cycles inform moral and ethical teachings, with each yuga representing a decline in virtue and an increase in chaos, culminating in the eventual renewal of the world. These systems weren't just abstract concepts, they were deeply woven into the fabric of daily life and spiritual belief. The connection between the Mayan long count and Hindu yuga cycles reminds us that, despite the vast geographical and cultural distances separating these civilizations, they shared a common quest to understand the mysteries of time and existence. Their intricate calendars and cosmic cycles reveal a universal human desire to find meaning in the infinite, to measure the immeasurable, and to connect the fleeting moments of our lives to the eternal rhythms of the universe. As we marvel at these ancient systems of timekeeping, we're invited to reflect on our own relationship with time. In a world that often feels dominated by the ticking of clocks and the rush of deadlines, the Mayan and Hindu traditions offer a profound reminder that time is not just a measure of moments, it's a gateway to understanding the deeper truths of existence. And as we continue to explore the strange connections between ancient cultures, we'll discover even more ways in which humanity has sought to make sense of the cosmos and our place within it. Now, let's journey along one of history's most famous trade routes, the Silk Road, and uncover how the ancient Greeks left an indelible mark on Central Asia. This connection takes us to the Greco-Bactrian kingdom, a fascinating blend of Greek and Central Asian cultures that flourished in the centuries following Alexander the Great's conquests. The story begins with Alexander the Great, whose campaigns in the 4th century BCE brought Greek culture to the farthest reaches of the known world. After his death, his vast empire fragmented, and one of the most intriguing offshoots emerged in Bactria, a region spanning modern-day Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. Here, Greek settlers established the Greco-Bactrian kingdom, a thriving civilization that became a cultural crossroads along the Silk Road. The Greco-Bactrian kingdom was a melting pot of ideas, art, and traditions. Greek colonists brought with them their language, architecture, and artistic styles, which blended seamlessly with local Central Asian customs. This fusion is most vividly seen in the kingdom's coinage, which featured Greek gods and inscriptions alongside local symbols and motifs. These coins weren't just currency, they were a testament to the cultural exchange that defined the region. One of the most remarkable legacies of the Greco-Bactrian kingdom is its influence on Buddhist art. As Greek settlers interacted with local Buddhist communities, they introduced new artistic techniques such as realistic human proportions and intricate drapery, which transformed the way Buddhist deities were depicted. This Greco-Buddhist art style spread along the Silk Road, leaving its mark as far east as China and Japan. The famous Gandhara sculptures, with their distinctly Greek features, stand as a lasting reminder of this cultural synthesis. The Silk Road itself played a crucial role in spreading Greek influence. As merchants, scholars, and travelers moved along this vast network of trade routes, they carried not only goods but also ideas. Greek philosophy, science, and literature found their way into Central Asia, influencing local thought and contributing to the region's intellectual richness. The city of Ai Khanoum, a major Greco-Bactrian center, became a hub of learning where Greek and Central Asian scholars exchanged knowledge in fields like astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. The Greco-Bactrian kingdom's legacy didn't end with its decline. Its cultural and artistic contributions continued to shape Central Asia for centuries, influencing the Kushan Empire and other regional powers. Even today, the echoes of this ancient fusion can be seen in the art, architecture, and traditions of the region. This connection between the ancient Greeks and the Silk Road reminds us of the power of cultural exchange. Through trade, conquest, and collaboration, the Greeks left a lasting imprint on Central Asia, proving that even the most distant cultures can come together to create something extraordinary. As we continue to explore the strange connections between ancient civilizations, we'll see how these interactions shaped the world in ways that still resonate today. Now, let's set sail across the vast Pacific Ocean to uncover a connection that bridges two seemingly distant worlds, Polynesia and South America. This fascinating link challenges our understanding of ancient seafaring and cultural exchange, revealing how the Polynesians, master navigators of the open seas, may have reached the shores of South America long before European explorers. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for this connection is the sweet potato. This humble root vegetable native to South America somehow found its way to Polynesia centuries ago. How did it get there? The answer lies in the remarkable voyages of the Polynesians, who traversed thousands of miles of open ocean in their double-hulled canoes. Archaeological evidence shows that sweet potatoes were being cultivated in Polynesia as early as 1,000 years ago, long before Europeans arrived in the Americas. Linguistic clues add another layer to this mystery. The Polynesian word for sweet potato, kumara, bears a striking resemblance to the Quechua word kumar used by indigenous peoples in the Andes. This suggests not only a transfer of crops but also a possible exchange of language and culture. But the sweet potato is just the beginning. Recent genetic studies have revealed another intriguing link: the presence of South American DNA in the genomes of some Polynesian populations. This discovery points to direct contact between Polynesians and South Americans, likely through voyages that brought them to the western coast of South America. Imagine the courage it took for these ancient mariners to venture into the unknown, guided only by the stars, ocean currents, and their deep knowledge of the sea. The Polynesians' navigational skills were nothing short of extraordinary. Using celestial navigation, wave patterns, and even the flight paths of birds, they were able to explore and settle islands scattered across the Pacific. Their voyages were not random but deliberate, driven by a desire to discover new lands and resources. It's entirely plausible that some of these journeys led them to South America, where they interacted with local populations, exchanged goods, and perhaps even shared knowledge. This connection between Polynesia and South America reminds us that the ancient world was far more interconnected than we often assume. The Polynesians' ability to cross vast distances and establish contact with distant cultures speaks to their ingenuity and resilience. It also challenges the traditional narrative of exploration, showing that long before Columbus or Magellan, there were already networks of exchange spanning the globe. As we continue to explore these strange connections, we'll see how the threads of history weave together in unexpected ways, revealing a world where cultures met, mingled, and left lasting legacies. Next, we'll turn our attention to another surprising link, this time between the ancient Chinese and Roman empires and the luxury goods that connected them across continents. Now, let's journey from the vast Pacific to the ancient trade routes that connected two of the greatest empires of the ancient world, Han China and the Roman Empire. While these civilizations never directly met, their influence on each other was profound, thanks to the sprawling network of the Silk Road. This legendary trade route, stretching over 4,000 miles, became the lifeline for the exchange of goods, ideas, and culture between East and West. At the heart of this connection were luxury goods that symbolized wealth and status. Chinese silk, a highly prized fabric, made its way to Rome, where it became a symbol of opulence among the elite. The Romans were so enamored with silk that they even referred to China as Sears, the land of silk. In return, Roman glassware, gold, and precious stones flowed eastward, finding their way into the courts of Chinese emperors. This exchange wasn't just about material wealth. It was a meeting of two worlds, each fascinated by the other's craftsmanship and artistry. The Silk Road wasn't just a single path, but a complex web of routes that passed through deserts, mountains, and bustling cities. Caravans of merchants, often braving harsh conditions, carried these goods across vast distances. Along the way, they facilitated not only trade but also the spread of knowledge, religion, and technology. For example, Chinese papermaking techniques eventually reached the West, while Roman architectural styles influenced buildings in Central Asia. One of the most intriguing aspects of this trade was its indirect nature. Goods often changed hands multiple times before reaching their final destination, passing through intermediaries like the Parthians and the Sogdians. These middlemen played a crucial role in maintaining the flow of trade, even as political tensions and conflicts occasionally disrupted the routes. Despite these challenges, the Silk Road remained a vital artery of commerce for centuries, linking distant cultures in ways that shaped the course of history. The exchange between China and Rome also highlights the interconnectedness of the ancient world. While the two empires were separated by vast distances, their mutual desire for exotic goods created a bond that transcended geography. This connection reminds us that even in an era without modern technology, human ingenuity and curiosity could bridge continents, fostering a shared legacy of cultural and economic exchange. As we move forward, we'll uncover yet another surprising link, this time between the Dogon people of West Africa and the ancient Egyptians and their shared knowledge of the stars. The mysteries of the cosmos, it seems, have always connected us in ways we're only beginning to understand. Now, let's turn our gaze to the stars and explore a connection that bridges the ancient wisdom of the Dogon people of West Africa and the celestial knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. This fascinating link centers around Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky, and its mysterious companion, Sirius B. The Dogon, an ethnic group from Mali, have long held detailed knowledge about Sirius that has puzzled researchers for decades. According to their oral traditions, they knew about Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye, long before modern telescopes confirmed its existence. The Dogon described Sirius B as a dense, heavy star that orbits Sirius every 50 years, a fact that aligns remarkably with modern astronomical findings. What makes this knowledge even more intriguing is its potential connection to ancient Egyptian astronomy. The Egyptians revered Sirius, which they called Sopdet, as a star of great importance. It played a central role in their calendar, marking the annual flooding of the Nile and the beginning of their new year. Some researchers have speculated that the Dogon's knowledge of Sirius B might have originated from ancient Egyptian sources, suggesting a possible exchange of astronomical wisdom across the Sahara. This theory gains further weight when we consider the similarities between Dogon and Egyptian cosmology. Both cultures placed a strong emphasis on Sirius in their spiritual and astronomical systems. The Dogon's intricate understanding of Sirius B, combined with the Egyptians' reverence for Sirius A, raises questions about whether these two civilizations shared a deeper connection than previously thought. Could there have been a transfer of knowledge through trade routes or cultural exchanges that spanned continents? While some scholars argue that the Dogon's knowledge of Sirius B could be a result of contact with modern astronomers, others believe it points to an ancient shared heritage. The mystery deepens when we consider the Dogon's detailed descriptions of Sirius B's orbit and characteristics, which seem too precise to be mere coincidence. This connection between the Dogon and the ancient Egyptians invites us to reconsider the ways in which knowledge was preserved and transmitted across generations and cultures. It also highlights the universal human fascination with the stars and the ways in which celestial phenomena have shaped our understanding of the world. As we continue our journey through these strange connections, we'll next explore the intriguing parallels between the ancient Celts and the Scythians, two warrior cultures whose art and burial practices reveal surprising similarities. The threads of history, it seems, are woven in ways that continue to astonish us. Now, shifting our focus to the ancient Celts and the Scythians, we uncover another layer of historical intrigue that ties these two warrior cultures together. Both groups, separated by vast distances, shared striking similarities in their art, burial customs, and warrior traditions, raising questions about whether their paths crossed in the ancient world. The Celts, who flourished across Europe from the Iron Age onward, were known for their intricate metalwork, elaborate jewelry, and distinctive knotwork designs. Similarly, the Scythians, nomadic warriors who roamed the steppes of Central Asia, created stunning gold artifacts and animal-style art that reflected their deep connection to nature and the spiritual world. The parallels in their artistic styles are hard to ignore. Both cultures used swirling patterns, animal motifs, and symbolic imagery that suggest a shared aesthetic or even a possible exchange of ideas. When it comes to burial practices, the similarities become even more pronounced. The Celts often buried their elite in large mounds, accompanied by weapons, chariots, and personal belongings, reflecting their belief in an afterlife where such items would be needed. The Scythians, too, constructed elaborate burial mounds known as kurgans, filled with weapons, horses, and treasures for their leaders. These practices highlight a shared reverence for the dead and a belief in the continuity of life beyond death. The warrior ethos of both cultures further deepens the connection. The Celts were renowned for their fierce combat skills, often fighting naked or with minimal armor to intimidate their enemies. The Scythians, equally formidable, were master horsemen and archers, dominating the battlefield with their speed and precision. Both groups also placed a high value on personal bravery and honor, traits that were celebrated in their myths and legends. Could these similarities be the result of direct contact between the Celts and Scythians? Some historians suggest that trade routes such as the Silk Road may have facilitated cultural exchanges between these distant peoples. Others propose that shared Indo-European roots could explain the commonalities in their art and traditions. While the exact nature of their connection remains a mystery, the evidence points to a fascinating interplay of ideas and practices that transcended geographical boundaries. As we move forward, our next stop takes us to the ancient Egyptians and the Hopi, where we'll explore the uncanny parallels in their creation myths and cosmic beliefs. The tapestry of history continues to reveal threads that connect cultures in ways we are only beginning to understand. Now, turning our attention to the ancient Egyptians and the Hopi, we find ourselves stepping into a realm where creation myths reveal profound connections across time and space. Despite being separated by thousands of miles and centuries, both cultures share striking similarities in their stories of how the world began, centered around themes of emergence and cosmic order. The ancient Egyptians believed in a creation story where the universe emerged from the primordial waters of chaos, known as Nun. From this watery abyss, the god Atum rose, bringing order to the cosmos and creating the first gods and humans. This idea of emergence from chaos into order is a central theme in Egyptian mythology, reflecting their understanding of the universe as a place of balance and harmony, governed by the principles of Mat or divine order. Similarly, the Hopi people of North America tell a creation story that begins with the emergence of life from the underworld. According to their traditions, the Hopi ancestors journeyed through multiple worlds, each destroyed by imbalance and chaos, before finally emerging into the current world. This emergence narrative emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with the natural world and maintaining spiritual balance, mirroring the Egyptian concept of Mat. Both cultures also share a deep reverence for the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The Egyptians aligned their temples and pyramids with celestial bodies, believing that the movements of the stars and the sun were reflections of divine order. The Hopi, too, have a sophisticated understanding of astronomy, using their knowledge to guide agricultural practices and spiritual ceremonies. Their calendar, based on the cycles of the moon and the sun, reflects a similar preoccupation with cosmic order and the interconnectedness of all life. Another fascinating parallel lies in the symbolism of the serpent. In Egyptian mythology, the serpent Apep represents chaos and is constantly battled by the sun god Ra to maintain order. For the Hopi, the serpent is a symbol of transformation and renewal, often associated with water and the life-giving forces of the earth. Both cultures use the serpent as a powerful metaphor for the struggle between chaos and order, highlighting their shared understanding of the universe as a dynamic balance of opposing forces. Could these similarities be evidence of a shared ancient worldview, or are they simply the result of humanity's universal quest to understand the mysteries of existence? While the exact nature of their connection remains unclear, the parallels between Egyptian and Hopi creation myths offer a compelling glimpse into how different cultures have grappled with the same fundamental questions about life, the universe, and our place within it. As we continue our journey, our next stop takes us to the ancient Sumerians and the Anunnaki, where we'll delve into their myths of divine beings and their influence on later civilizations. The threads of history continue to weave a tapestry of connections that challenge our understanding of the past. Now, shifting our focus to the ancient Sumerians and the Anunnaki, we uncover a fascinating layer of mythology that has sparked intrigue and debate for centuries. The Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations, left behind a rich tapestry of stories about the Anunnaki, a group of deities who played a central role in their cosmology. These myths not only shaped Sumerian culture, but also appear to have influenced later Mesopotamian civilizations and, some argue, even global mythologies. The Anunnaki, whose name translates to "those who came from the heavens," were believed to be powerful beings who descended to Earth to establish order and guide humanity. According to Sumerian texts, they were responsible for creating humans, shaping the world, and imparting knowledge of agriculture, writing, and law. This idea of divine beings intervening in human affairs is a recurring theme in many ancient cultures, raising questions about whether these stories share a common origin or reflect universal human experiences. One of the most compelling aspects of the Anunnaki myths is their potential connection to later Mesopotamian gods. For instance, the Babylonian god Marduk, who rose to prominence in the Babylonian pantheon, is often linked to the Anunnaki. Similarly, the Assyrian god Ashur shares traits with these ancient deities, suggesting a continuity of belief across different civilizations in the region. This blending of mythologies highlights how stories evolve and adapt as they are passed down through generations. Beyond Mesopotamia, some researchers have drawn parallels between the Anunnaki and deities in other ancient cultures. For example, the Egyptian god Ptah, who is credited with creating the world through speech, bears similarities to the Sumerian god Enki, a key figure among the Anunnaki. Even in distant cultures like the Hindu tradition, the concept of divine beings descending to Earth to guide humanity echoes the Anunnaki narrative. These connections have led to speculation about whether these myths reflect a shared ancient memory or simply the universal human tendency to explain the unknown through stories of gods and heroes. The influence of the Anunnaki extends into modern times, with some theories suggesting that these beings were not mythological but actual extraterrestrial visitors who shaped human history. While this idea remains controversial and lacks scholarly consensus, it underscores the enduring fascination with the Anunnaki and their role in ancient mythology. Whether viewed as gods, metaphors, or something more, the Anunnaki continue to captivate our imagination and challenge our understanding of the past. As we move forward, our exploration takes us to the ancient Chinese and the Maya, where we'll examine their shared reverence for jade and its symbolic significance in rituals and burials. The threads of history continue to reveal surprising connections that bridge cultures and continents, inviting us to rethink the stories we thought we knew. Now, let's journey across the globe to explore a striking connection between two seemingly distant civilizations, the ancient Chinese and the Maya. Despite being separated by vast oceans and thousands of miles, these cultures shared a profound reverence for jade, a gemstone that held immense symbolic and spiritual significance in both societies. This shared fascination with jade offers a fascinating glimpse into how different cultures can arrive at similar values and practices, even without direct contact. In ancient China, jade was far more than just a precious stone. It was considered the essence of heaven and earth, embodying virtues like purity, wisdom, and immortality. The Chinese believed that jade had protective qualities, capable of warding off evil spirits and ensuring a safe passage to the afterlife. It was often carved into intricate shapes, such as by discs and Kong tubes, which were used in rituals and buried with the dead to honor their journey into the next world. Emperors and nobles adorned themselves with jade ornaments, not only as symbols of their status but also as a means of connecting with the divine. Similarly, the Maya of Mesoamerica held jade in the highest regard, viewing it as a sacred material with life-giving properties. For the Maya, jade represented water, fertility, and the breath of life itself. It was closely associated with their gods, particularly the maize god, who symbolized renewal and abundance. Jade artifacts such as masks, beads, and figurines were often placed in royal tombs to accompany rulers into the afterlife. The famous jade mosaic mask of the Maya king Pakal the Great is a stunning example of how this material was used to honor the dead and ensure their divine favor in the next realm. What makes this connection even more intriguing is the fact that both cultures independently attributed similar meanings to jade, despite having no known contact with each other. In China, jade was linked to the heavens and the eternal, while in Mesoamerica, it symbolized the life-giving forces of nature. Both civilizations used jade to bridge the gap between the mortal world and the divine, creating a tangible connection between the living and the dead. The craftsmanship involved in working with jade also highlights the advanced skills of both cultures. Jade is an incredibly hard material, requiring immense patience and precision to carve. The intricate designs and symbolic motifs found in Chinese and Maya jade artifacts reveal not only their technical expertise, but also their deep spiritual and cultural values. This shared mastery of jade craftsmanship underscores the universal human desire to create beauty and meaning from the natural world. As we reflect on this connection, it's worth considering why jade held such a central place in both cultures. Was it the stone's durability and beauty that made it so revered, or did its rarity and difficulty to work with elevate it to a sacred status? Perhaps it was a combination of these factors, along with the universal human need to find meaning in the materials around us. Whatever the reason, the shared reverence for jade between the ancient Chinese and the Maya reminds us that even across vast distances and different worlds, humanity's search for connection and understanding often leads us to similar paths. Next, we'll turn our attention to the ancient Greeks and the Indus Valley, where we'll uncover surprising parallels in their philosophical and scientific achievements. The threads of history continue to weave a tapestry of connections that challenge our assumptions and deepen our appreciation for the ingenuity of ancient civilizations. Now, let's shift our focus to a fascinating intersection of ideas between the ancient Greeks and the Indus Valley civilization. While these two cultures were separated by vast distances and distinct historical timelines, their intellectual pursuits reveal intriguing parallels, particularly in the realms of mathematics and astronomy. This connection invites us to explore how ideas might have traveled across civilizations, shaping the way ancient societies understood the cosmos and the world around them. The ancient Greeks are often celebrated for their groundbreaking contributions to philosophy, mathematics, and science. Thinkers like Pythagoras, Euclid, and Aristotle laid the foundations for Western thought, developing theories and systems that would influence generations to come. But could their ideas have reached as far as the Indus Valley, one of the world's earliest urban civilizations? While direct evidence of contact is scarce, the similarities in their intellectual achievements suggest a possible exchange of knowledge, either through indirect trade routes or shared cultural influences. One striking parallel lies in their approach to mathematics. The Greeks are credited with formalizing geometry, with Euclid's Elements serving as a cornerstone of mathematical thought. Similarly, the Indus Valley civilization demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of geometry, as seen in their meticulously planned cities. The grid-like layouts of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro reveal an advanced grasp of spatial organization, with streets intersecting at right angles and buildings aligned with precision. This level of urban planning suggests a deep familiarity with geometric principles, raising questions about whether these ideas were independently developed or influenced by external sources. Astronomy is another area where these two civilizations show remarkable similarities. The Greeks, with figures like Hipparchus and Ptolemy, made significant strides in mapping the stars and understanding celestial movements. They developed complex models to explain planetary motion and created tools like the astrolabe to aid in their observations. Meanwhile, the Indus Valley people also displayed a keen interest in the heavens. Artifacts such as seals and pottery depict celestial symbols, suggesting that they, too, sought to interpret the cosmos. Some scholars argue that the Indus Valley's understanding of astronomy may have influenced later Indian traditions, which in turn could have intersected with Greek knowledge during the Hellenistic period. The Hellenistic era, following Alexander the Great's conquests, marked a time of cultural exchange between the Greek world and the East. Greek colonies in regions like Bactria and Gandhara brought Greek ideas closer to the Indian subcontinent, creating opportunities for intellectual cross-pollination. This period saw the blending of Greek and Indian thought, particularly in areas like mathematics and astronomy. For instance, the concept of zero, which is central to modern mathematics, is believed to have been developed in India but may have been influenced by Greek numerical systems. Similarly, Indian astronomers adopted and adapted Greek astronomical models, creating a hybrid tradition that enriched both cultures. What makes this connection so compelling is the way it challenges our understanding of ancient knowledge networks. While the Greeks and the Indus Valley civilization may not have had direct contact, their shared intellectual achievements suggest a broader, interconnected world of ideas. Whether through trade, migration, or the spread of texts, it's possible that these two civilizations influenced each other in ways we are only beginning to uncover. As we reflect on this connection, it's worth considering how ideas travel across time and space, shaping the way different cultures understand the world. The parallels between Greek and Indus Valley thought remind us that human curiosity and ingenuity are universal, transcending geographical and cultural boundaries. Next, we'll explore another intriguing link, this time between the ancient Egyptians and the Aboriginal Australians, where we'll uncover surprising similarities in their spiritual beliefs and artistic expressions. The tapestry of history continues to reveal threads that connect us all. Now, let's journey to a connection that spans continents and millennia, the surprising parallels between the ancient Egyptians and the Aboriginal Australians. At first glance, these two cultures might seem worlds apart, separated by vast oceans and distinct histories. Yet, when we look closer, we find striking similarities in their rock art and spiritual beliefs, hinting at a shared ancient worldview that transcends time and geography. The ancient Egyptians are renowned for their monumental architecture and intricate hieroglyphs, but their rock art also holds profound significance. Scattered across the deserts of Egypt, these carvings and paintings depict scenes of daily life, religious rituals, and celestial events. Many of these artworks are believed to have served as a bridge between the earthly and the divine, reflecting the Egyptians' deep connection to the cosmos and their belief in an afterlife. Similarly, Aboriginal Australian rock art, some of which dates back tens of thousands of years, is rich with spiritual symbolism. These artworks, found in places like Kakadu National Park and the Kimberley region, often depict ancestral beings, creation stories, and sacred landscapes. Both cultures used rock art not just as a form of expression, but as a way to communicate with the spiritual realm and preserve their cultural heritage. One of the most intriguing parallels lies in their depictions of celestial bodies. The Egyptians meticulously charted the stars, using their knowledge to align pyramids and temples with astronomical events. Their art often features symbols of the sun, moon, and stars, reflecting their belief in the divine nature of the cosmos. Aboriginal Australians also had a profound understanding of the night sky, with many rock art sites featuring depictions of constellations, eclipses, and other celestial phenomena. For both cultures, the heavens were not just a source of wonder but a guide for navigation, timekeeping, and spiritual practice. This shared reverence for the cosmos suggests a universal human impulse to seek meaning in the stars. Another fascinating connection is the role of animals in their spiritual beliefs. The Egyptians revered animals like the falcon, scarab beetle, and ibis, associating them with gods and cosmic forces. These creatures frequently appear in their art, symbolizing protection, rebirth, and divine power. Similarly, Aboriginal Australian rock art often features animals like kangaroos, emus, and turtles, which are central to their Dreamtime stories. These animals are not just depicted as part of the natural world, but as embodiments of ancestral spirits and sacred knowledge. The prominence of animals in both cultures' art and spirituality highlights a shared understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. Perhaps the most compelling similarity is their belief in a cyclical view of time and existence. The Egyptians' concept of the afterlife, with its emphasis on resurrection and eternal renewal, mirrors the Aboriginal Australian belief in the Dreamtime, a timeless realm where the past, present, and future coexist. Both cultures saw life as part of an endless cycle, with death not as an end but as a transition to another state of being. This shared world view is reflected in their art, which often depicts themes of creation, transformation, and continuity. While there is no direct evidence of contact between ancient Egypt and Aboriginal Australia, these parallels invite us to consider the possibility of a shared ancient worldview. Whether through independent development or some form of distant cultural exchange, the similarities in their rock art and spiritual beliefs remind us of the universal human quest to understand our place in the universe. As we continue to explore these connections, we uncover not just the richness of individual cultures but the threads that bind humanity together. Next, we'll turn our attention to another remarkable link, this time between the ancient Norse and the Native Americans, where we'll examine the evidence of Viking contact with North America and the stories that have endured through the ages. The mysteries of history continue to unfold, revealing connections that challenge our understanding of the past. Now, let's set sail across the North Atlantic to uncover one of history's most fascinating encounters, the meeting of the ancient Norse and the Native Americans. This connection, long shrouded in mystery, is brought to life through a combination of ancient sagas and groundbreaking archaeological discoveries. The story begins with the Vinland sagas, two medieval Icelandic texts that recount the Norse voyages to a land they called Vinland, believed to be part of North America. These sagas, the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red, describe the journeys of explorers like Leif Erikson, who ventured westward from Greenland around the year 1000. According to the sagas, the Norse encountered a land rich in resources, including wild grapes, which gave Vinland its name, and indigenous peoples they referred to as the Skraelings. The sagas provide vivid accounts of the Norse interactions with the Native Americans, detailing both cooperation and conflict. In one notable episode, the Norse traded red cloth and milk for furs with the Skraelings, showcasing an early exchange of goods between these two cultures. However, tensions eventually arose, leading to skirmishes that ultimately prompted the Norse to abandon their settlements in Vinland. While the sagas are rich in narrative, they were long considered more legend than fact until archaeology stepped in to confirm their claims. In the 1960s, a team of archaeologists led by Helge and Anne Stein Ingstad made a groundbreaking discovery at Elance Aux Meadows, a site on the northern tip of Newfoundland, Canada. Here, they uncovered the remains of a Norse settlement dating back to around the year 1000. The site included the foundations of turf-walled buildings, ironworking tools, and artifacts that matched descriptions from the sagas. This discovery provided undeniable proof that the Norse had indeed reached North America centuries before Columbus, making Elance Aux Meadows the only confirmed Norse site in the Americas. But the story doesn't end there. Recent archaeological findings have deepened our understanding of this cross-cultural encounter. For example, evidence of butternuts and wood from trees native to regions further south suggests that the Norse may have explored beyond Newfoundland, possibly venturing into areas like New Brunswick or even Maine. Additionally, some researchers have proposed that the Norse may have interacted with the ancestors of the Mi'kmaq or Beothuk peoples, though direct evidence of these interactions remains elusive. The significance of these discoveries extends beyond the mere fact of Norse presence in North America. They challenge the traditional narrative of European exploration and highlight the complexity of early transatlantic contact. The Norse voyages to Vinland represent a fleeting but profound moment of connection between two vastly different worlds, a moment that reshapes our understanding of history and reminds us of the enduring human spirit of exploration. As we continue to piece together the evidence, the story of the Norse and the Native Americans invites us to reflect on the broader themes of cultural exchange, resilience, and the interconnectedness of human history. Next, we'll delve into another intriguing link, this time between the ancient Persians and the Greeks, where we'll explore the cultural and military exchanges that shaped the ancient world. The threads of history continue to weave a tapestry of connections that surprise and inspire. Turning our gaze from the icy shores of the North Atlantic, we now journey to the sun-drenched lands of the Eastern Mediterranean, where the ancient Persians and Greeks forged a complex relationship marked by both conflict and cultural exchange. The Achaemenid Empire, one of the largest and most powerful empires of the ancient world, stretched from the Indus Valley to the Aegean Sea, bringing it into direct contact with the city-states of ancient Greece. This encounter, spanning centuries, would shape the course of history in profound ways. At the heart of this connection lies the Persian Wars, a series of conflicts that pitted the mighty Persian Empire against the smaller, yet fiercely independent Greek city-states. The wars began in the early 5th century BCE, when the Persian king Darius I sought to expand his empire westward. The first major clash occurred at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE, where the outnumbered Athenians achieved a stunning victory against the Persian forces. This triumph not only bolstered Greek morale but also became a defining moment in their collective identity. The conflict escalated under Darius's successor, Xerxes I, who launched a massive invasion of Greece in 480 BC. The Persian army, said to number in the hundreds of thousands, faced determined resistance from the Greeks, particularly at the narrow pass of Thermopylae. Here, a small force led by the Spartan king Leonidas held off the Persian advance for 3 days, becoming a symbol of courage and sacrifice. Though the Persians eventually broke through, their momentum was halted at the naval battle of Salamis, where the Greek fleet, led by the Athenians, secured a decisive victory. These battles not only halted Persian expansion into Europe, but also solidified the Greeks' sense of unity and shared purpose. Yet, the relationship between the Persians and Greeks was not solely defined by warfare. Cultural exchanges flourished, particularly during periods of relative peace. The Persian Empire, with its vast network of trade routes, facilitated the flow of goods, ideas, and artistic influences between East and West. Greek artisans and craftsmen were employed in Persian courts, while Persian motifs and styles found their way into Greek art and architecture. The famous Persian gardens, with their intricate designs and symbolic layouts, may have even influenced Greek conceptions of paradise and the afterlife. One of the most intriguing aspects of this connection is the mutual fascination each culture held for the other. Greek historians like Herodotus documented Persian customs and traditions, offering a window into their world. Conversely, Persian rulers admired Greek philosophy and learning, with some even inviting Greek thinkers to their courts. This intellectual exchange laid the groundwork for later developments in both cultures, blending Eastern and Western thought in ways that would resonate for centuries. The legacy of the Persian-Greek connection extends far beyond the ancient world. The Persian Wars inspired countless works of art, literature, and drama, from Aeschylus's play The Persians to modern retellings of the Battle of Thermopylae. The cultural exchanges between these two civilizations also influenced the Hellenistic period, when Alexander the Great's conquest spread Greek culture across the Persian Empire, creating a fusion of traditions that shaped the Mediterranean world. As we reflect on this dynamic relationship, we're reminded that history is rarely a story of simple winners and losers. The ancient Persians and Greeks, through both conflict and cooperation, left an indelible mark on each other's cultures, demonstrating the enduring power of human connection. Next, we'll explore another fascinating link, this time between the ancient Chinese and the Aztecs, where we'll uncover surprising parallels in their mythologies and artistic traditions. The tapestry of history continues to reveal its intricate and unexpected patterns. Now, let's shift our focus to a connection that spans continents and cultures: the intriguing parallels between the ancient Chinese and the Aztecs, particularly in their use of feathered serpents in mythology. At first glance, these two civilizations might seem worlds apart, separated by vast oceans and distinct histories. Yet, when we look closer, we find striking similarities in their symbolic imagery and spiritual beliefs. In Aztec mythology, the feathered serpent is most famously embodied by Quetzalcoatl, a deity associated with wind, air, and learning. Quetzalcoatl was revered as a bringer of knowledge and culture, often depicted as a serpent adorned with the vibrant feathers of the Quetzal bird. This imagery symbolized the union of earth and sky, blending the serpent's connection to the ground with the bird's link to the heavens. For the Aztecs, Quetzalcoatl represented balance, renewal, and the cyclical nature of life. Interestingly, the ancient Chinese also held a deep reverence for serpent-like creatures, particularly the dragon. While not exactly a feathered serpent, the Chinese dragon shares some symbolic traits with Quetzalcoatl. In Chinese mythology, dragons are often depicted as benevolent, wise beings associated with water, rain, and the heavens. They are seen as symbols of power, prosperity, and cosmic harmony. Like Quetzalcoatl, the Chinese dragon embodies a connection between the earthly and the divine, serving as a bridge between the natural and spiritual worlds. One of the most fascinating parallels lies in the shared emphasis on duality and balance. Both the Aztec feathered serpent and the Chinese dragon represent the merging of opposites: earth and sky, water and air, chaos and order. This theme of duality is central to both cultures' worldviews, reflecting a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. For the Aztecs, Quetzalcoatl's dual nature symbolized the balance between creation and destruction, while for the Chinese, the dragon's ability to control water and weather represented harmony within the natural world. Another intriguing connection is the role of these serpent-like beings in cultural and spiritual practices. In Aztec society, Quetzalcoatl was not only a deity but also a cultural hero credited with teaching humanity agriculture, writing, and the arts. Similarly, in Chinese tradition, dragons were believed to influence the success of crops and the well-being of the people, often invoked in rituals to ensure rain and fertility. Both cultures saw these creatures as intermediaries between humans and the divine, embodying the forces that shaped their lives and environments. While the exact origins of these parallels remain a mystery, some scholars suggest that they may reflect universal human experiences and archetypes. The serpent, as a symbol of transformation and renewal, appears in mythologies across the globe from the Americas to Asia. The addition of feathers or wings may represent humanity's aspiration to transcend earthly limitations and connect with the divine. Whether these similarities arose independently or through some form of ancient cultural exchange, they remind us of the shared threads that weave through human history. As we explore these connections, we're left to wonder what other hidden links might exist between the ancient Chinese and the Aztecs. Could their shared symbolism point to a deeper, perhaps even forgotten, connection? Next, we'll delve into another fascinating mystery, examining the shared use of jade in both cultures and its profound significance in rituals and burials. The story of these ancient civilizations continues to unfold, revealing patterns that challenge our understanding of the past. Now, let's journey to the ancient Mediterranean, where the civilizations of Egypt and Minoan Crete reveal another fascinating connection: their shared reverence for the bull. This powerful animal held deep symbolic meaning in both cultures, appearing in art, rituals, and mythology. Yet each civilization interpreted its significance in unique ways. In Minoan culture, the bull was central to one of their most iconic practices, bull leaping. This daring ritual, depicted in vivid frescoes found at the Palace of Knossos, involved acrobats leaping over charging bulls in a display of agility and bravery. For the Minoans, the bull symbolized strength, fertility, and the raw power of nature. Bull leaping was not just a sport or spectacle. It was likely a sacred act, possibly tied to rites of passage or ceremonies honoring the gods. The bull's association with life force and renewal made it a key figure in Minoan spirituality, embodying the cycle of life and death. Meanwhile, in ancient Egypt, the bull took on a different but equally profound role through the worship of the Apis bull. The Apis was considered a living manifestation of the god Ptah, associated with creation and craftsmanship, and later linked to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. The Apis bull was believed to be a divine intermediary, a bridge between the human and divine realms. When an Apis bull died, it was mummified with great ceremony, and its burial was a major event reflecting its sacred status. The Egyptians saw the bull as a symbol of strength, virility, and kingship, often associating it with the pharaoh's divine authority. Despite their geographical distance, both cultures used the bull to represent themes of power, fertility, and the divine. The Minoans emphasized the bull's connection to life and vitality through their dynamic rituals, while the Egyptians focused on its role as a sacred intermediary and symbol of eternal renewal. This shared symbolism raises intriguing questions about the exchange of ideas across the ancient world. Could there have been contact or influence between these two civilizations, or did they independently arrive at similar interpretations of the bull's significance? One possible link lies in the trade networks of the Bronze Age, which connected Egypt and Crete through the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural practices. Artifacts such as Minoan pottery found in Egyptian tombs suggest that these civilizations were aware of each other, even if direct influence remains uncertain. The bull's universal symbolism as a powerful, life-giving force may have resonated across cultures, leading to parallel expressions of reverence. As we reflect on these connections, we're reminded of the enduring power of symbols to transcend time and space. The bull, whether leaping in Minoan frescoes or revered in Egyptian temples, speaks to humanity's shared fascination with the forces of nature and the divine. Next, we'll explore another captivating link between ancient cultures this time, examining the shared use of standardized weights and measures in Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. The story of these ancient connections continues to unfold, revealing the intricate web of human history. Now, let's shift our focus to the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley, where another remarkable connection emerges: their shared use of standardized weights and measures. This seemingly mundane aspect of daily life reveals a fascinating glimpse into how these two cultures organized their economies and interacted with one another. In Mesopotamia, often regarded as the cradle of civilization, the development of standardized weights and measures was a cornerstone of their thriving trade networks. The Mesopotamians used a system based on units like the shekel and the mina, which were carefully crafted from stone or metal. These weights were not only practical tools for merchants, but also symbols of fairness and order in a society deeply invested in commerce. The consistency of these measures allowed for smooth transactions, whether trading grain, textiles, or precious metals, and helped establish Mesopotamia as a hub of economic activity in the ancient world. Similarly, the Indus Valley civilization, known for its advanced urban planning and sophisticated infrastructure, also employed a highly organized system of weights and measures. Archaeologists have uncovered numerous stone weights in cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, which display a remarkable uniformity. These weights were typically made from chert, a type of stone, and followed a precise decimal system. The smallest unit, often referred to as the Indus inch, was used to measure length, while larger weights were used for trade goods. This level of standardization suggests a society that valued precision and fairness, much like their Mesopotamian counterparts. What makes this connection particularly intriguing is the possibility of cultural exchange between these two civilizations. While direct evidence of contact is scarce, the similarities in their systems raise questions about whether ideas about measurement and trade practices traveled along ancient trade routes. Both Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley were part of a vast network of exchange that spanned the ancient world, connecting regions as far apart as Egypt and Central Asia. It's possible that merchants, travelers, or even diplomats carried knowledge of weights and measures between these cultures, leading to parallel developments. The shared emphasis on standardization also highlights a broader theme in human history: the importance of trust and consistency in economic systems. Whether trading in the bustling markets of Mesopotamia or the well-planned streets of the Indus Valley, merchants relied on these systems to ensure fairness and build trust with their trading partners. This mutual reliance on standardized measures not only facilitated trade but also fostered a sense of interconnectedness between distant cultures. As we explore these connections, we're reminded of how seemingly small details like a set of weights can reveal profound insights into the ways ancient societies interacted and influenced one another. The story of Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley is a testament to the ingenuity and cooperation that shaped the ancient world. Next, we'll turn our attention to another fascinating link, this time examining the influence of Greek art and mythology on the Etruscan civilization. The journey through these ancient connections continues to unfold, offering new perspectives on the shared heritage of humanity. Now, let's journey westward to explore the fascinating interplay between the ancient Greeks and the Etruscans, two civilizations whose artistic and spiritual worlds intertwined in remarkable ways. The Etruscans, who thrived in what is now modern-day Italy, were deeply influenced by Greek culture, particularly in their art and religious practices. This connection offers a vivid example of how ideas and traditions traveled across the ancient Mediterranean, shaping societies far beyond their origins. Greek art, renowned for its beauty and innovation, left an indelible mark on Etruscan pottery. The Etruscans adopted and adapted Greek techniques, creating their own distinctive style while drawing heavily from Greek motifs. For instance, the black figure and red figure pottery styles, which originated in Greece, became popular among Etruscan artisans. These techniques involved intricate designs and scenes from mythology, often depicting gods, heroes, and epic tales. Etruscan potters not only replicated these styles but also infused them with local flavor, blending Greek elegance with Etruscan creativity. This fusion of artistic traditions highlights the cultural exchange that flourished between these two civilizations. Beyond pottery, Greek mythology also permeated Etruscan religious practices. The Etruscans were deeply spiritual, and their pantheon of gods bore striking similarities to those of the Greeks. Deities like Zeus, Hera, and Athena found their counterparts in Etruscan religion, often with slightly altered names and attributes. For example, the Etruscan god Tinia was closely associated with Zeus, sharing his role as a sky god and a wielder of thunderbolts. This blending of divine figures suggests that the Etruscans not only admired Greek mythology, but also integrated it into their own spiritual framework, creating a unique synthesis of beliefs. The influence of Greek art and mythology on the Etruscans wasn't just a matter of imitation. It was a dynamic process of adaptation and reinterpretation. The Etruscans took what they admired from Greek culture and made it their own, reflecting their own values and worldview. This cultural exchange underscores the interconnectedness of the ancient Mediterranean world, where ideas, art, and beliefs flowed freely across borders, enriching the civilizations they touched. As we reflect on this connection, it's clear that the relationship between the Greeks and the Etruscans was one of mutual inspiration. The Etruscans' ability to absorb and transform Greek influences speaks to their creativity and openness to new ideas. This interplay of cultures reminds us that the ancient world was far from isolated. It was a vibrant tapestry of shared knowledge and innovation. Next, we'll uncover another intriguing link, this time exploring the shared use of oracle bones and divination practices between ancient China and Egypt. The story of these ancient connections continues to unfold, revealing the threads that bind humanity's past. Now, let's turn our attention to a fascinating parallel between two of history's most enigmatic civilizations, ancient China and Egypt. While separated by vast distances, these cultures shared a profound interest in divination, the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown through supernatural means. Both the Chinese and the Egyptians developed intricate systems of divination, and their methods reveal striking similarities that hint at a deeper connection in their spiritual beliefs. In ancient China, divination was closely tied to the use of oracle bones, particularly during the Shang dynasty, around 1600 to 1050 BC. These bones, often the shoulder blades of oxen or the shells of turtles, were inscribed with questions addressed to ancestors or deities. The bones were then heated until they cracked, and the resulting patterns were interpreted by diviners as messages from the spirit world. These inscriptions are among the earliest examples of Chinese writing, offering a glimpse into the beliefs and concerns of the time, from harvests and weather to warfare and royal decisions. Similarly, in ancient Egypt, divination played a central role in both religious and political life. The Egyptians used a variety of methods to communicate with the divine, including dream interpretation, the casting of lots, and the examination of animal entrails. One of the most intriguing parallels to the Chinese oracle bones is the Egyptian practice of using inscribed animal bones, known as oracle texts, to seek guidance from the gods. These texts often contained questions about the future, and the responses were believed to be divinely inspired. The Egyptians also relied heavily on the interpretation of natural phenomena, such as the behavior of birds or the movement of celestial bodies, as signs from the gods. What makes these practices so remarkable is not just their similarity, but the shared belief in the power of the supernatural to influence human affairs. Both cultures viewed divination as a way to bridge the gap between the mortal world and the divine, seeking reassurance and guidance in an uncertain world. The use of inscribed bones in both traditions suggests a possible exchange of ideas, or, at the very least, a parallel development of spiritual practices that reflect a common human desire to understand the unknown. The similarities between Chinese and Egyptian divination practices raise intriguing questions about the flow of ideas across ancient civilizations. While there is no direct evidence of contact between these two cultures, the parallels in their spiritual practices hint at a shared worldview that transcended geographical boundaries. Both societies placed immense value on the ability to communicate with the divine, and their methods reveal a deep respect for the mysteries of the universe. As we explore these connections, it's clear that the ancient world was far more interconnected than we often realize. The shared use of oracle bones and divination practices by the Chinese and Egyptians underscores the universal human quest for meaning and guidance. This link between two distant civilizations reminds us that, despite their differences, ancient cultures often grappled with the same fundamental questions about life, the universe, and the divine. Next, we'll delve into another surprising connection, this time examining the shared use of zero in the mathematical systems of the ancient Mayans and Indians. The story of these ancient ties continues to unfold, revealing the threads that bind humanity's past. Now, let's shift our focus to another remarkable connection, this time between the ancient Mayans and the ancient Indians. While these civilizations were separated by vast oceans and continents, they both achieved something extraordinary in the realm of mathematics, the invention and use of zero. This seemingly simple concept revolutionized their understanding of numbers, astronomy, and timekeeping, and its development in both cultures reveals a shared intellectual brilliance that continues to astonish historians and mathematicians today. The Mayans, who flourished in Mesoamerica from around 2000 BC to the 9th century CE, were among the first to develop a sophisticated numerical system that included a symbol for zero. Their system was based on a vigesimal or base 20 structure, which allowed them to perform complex calculations with remarkable precision. The Mayan zero, represented by a shell-like symbol, was used as a placeholder in their positional numeral system, enabling them to express large numbers and track time with incredible accuracy. This was particularly important for their elaborate calendar systems, which were central to their religious and agricultural practices. The Mayans used their mathematical prowess to predict celestial events, such as eclipses and planetary movements, with a level of accuracy that rivals modern astronomy. Similarly, in ancient India, the concept of zero emerged as a cornerstone of their mathematical achievements. Indian mathematicians, particularly during the Gupta Empire around the 5th century CE, developed a decimal system that included zero as both a placeholder and a number in its own right. This innovation, often attributed to the mathematician Brahmagupta, laid the foundation for modern arithmetic and algebra. The Indian zero, represented by a dot or a small circle, allowed for the representation of large numbers and the performance of complex calculations, which were essential for advancements in astronomy, architecture, and trade. Indian astronomers used this system to create precise calendars and predict celestial phenomena, much like their Mayan counterparts. What makes this parallel so fascinating is not just the independent development of zero in both cultures, but the profound impact it had on their understanding of the universe. For the Mayans, zero was integral to their long count calendar, which tracked vast cycles of time and connected their daily lives to cosmic events. For the Indians, zero was a key to unlocking the mysteries of the cosmos, enabling them to calculate planetary positions and create intricate astronomical models. Both cultures recognized the importance of zero not just as a mathematical tool, but as a symbol of the infinite and the unknown, reflecting their deep philosophical and spiritual engagement with the universe. The shared use of zero by the Mayans and the Indians highlights a universal human drive to make sense of the world through numbers and patterns. While there is no evidence of direct contact between these two civilizations, their parallel achievements suggest a common intellectual curiosity and a shared quest for knowledge. This connection reminds us that the pursuit of understanding transcends geographical and cultural boundaries, uniting humanity in its search for meaning. As we continue to explore these strange connections, we'll next turn our attention to another surprising link, this time between the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Greeks, and their shared use of obelisks as symbols of power and cosmic order. The story of these ancient ties continues to unfold, revealing the threads that bind humanity's past. Now, let's journey to another fascinating connection, this time between the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Chinese. While these two civilizations developed independently on opposite sides of the world, they both shared a profound reverence for the afterlife, which manifested in their remarkably similar practices of mummification. This shared tradition of preserving the dead reveals a deep cultural belief in the continuity of life beyond death and the importance of preparing the body for its eternal journey. The ancient Egyptians are perhaps the most famous for their mummification practices, which date back to around 2600 BCE. For the Egyptians, mummification was a sacred process designed to ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife. They believed that preserving the body was essential for the soul, or ka, to recognize and reunite with it in the next world. The process involved removing internal organs, treating the body with natron, a natural salt, to dry it out and wrapping it in linen bandages. The organs were often placed in canopic jars, each protected by a deity, while amulets and spells from the Book of the Dead were included to safeguard the deceased on their journey. The result was a meticulously preserved body intended to endure for eternity. Similarly, the ancient Chinese also practiced forms of mummification, though their methods and cultural context differed. In China, mummification was closely tied to the belief in ancestor worship and the idea that the deceased continued to influence the living. One of the most famous examples is the mummy of Lady Di, also known as Xinjui, who lived during the Han Dynasty around 2,100 years ago. Her body was discovered in an astonishing state of preservation, with soft tissue, hair, and even blood vessels intact. Unlike the Egyptians, the Chinese did not remove organs or use natron. Instead, they relied on airtight burial chambers, layers of silk, and natural preservatives like mercury and charcoal to slow decomposition. The goal was to maintain the body's integrity so that the spirit could remain connected to the physical world and continue to receive offerings from descendants. What makes this connection so intriguing is not just the technical similarities but the shared philosophical underpinnings. Both cultures believed that the body was a vessel for the soul and that its preservation was crucial for ensuring a harmonious afterlife. For the Egyptians, this meant preparing the deceased for their journey through the underworld and their eventual reunion with the gods. For the Chinese, it meant maintaining a physical link between the living and the dead, ensuring that ancestors could continue to guide and protect their descendants. These practices reflect a universal human concern with mortality and the desire to transcend it through ritual and reverence. The parallel use of mummification by the Egyptians and the Chinese highlights a profound cultural convergence, despite the vast geographical and historical distances between them. It reminds us that the human quest to understand and prepare for the afterlife transcends borders and eras, uniting civilizations in their shared reverence for the mysteries of life and death. As we continue to uncover these strange connections, our next stop takes us to the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, where we'll explore their shared use of aqueducts and advanced engineering techniques. The story of these ancient ties continues to unfold, revealing the threads that bind humanity's past. Now, let's turn our attention to another remarkable connection, this time between the ancient Greeks and the ancient Indians. While these two civilizations flourished thousands of miles apart, their philosophical traditions reveal striking parallels that suggest a shared fascination with the nature of existence, the soul, and the cosmos. At the heart of this connection lie the works of the Greek philosopher Plato and the ancient Indian texts known as the Upanishads, both of which explore profound questions about reality, knowledge, and the self. Plato, one of the most influential thinkers in Western philosophy, lived in Athens around 400 BC. His dialogues, such as The Republic and Phaedo, delve into the nature of the soul, the idea of eternal truths, and the concept of an ideal reality beyond the physical world. Plato's theory of forms, for instance, posits that the material world we perceive is merely a shadow of a higher, unchanging reality. He believed that true knowledge comes from understanding these eternal forms, which exist in a realm accessible only through reason and contemplation. For Plato, the soul is immortal and undergoes a cycle of reincarnation, striving to return to its divine origin. Similarly, the Upanishads, composed in ancient India between 800 and 500 BC, explore the nature of ultimate reality, or Brahman, and the individual soul, or Atman. These texts, which form the philosophical foundation of Hinduism, emphasize the unity of Atman and Brahman, suggesting that the true self is not separate from the universal consciousness. Like Plato, the Upanishads teach that the material world is an illusion, or Maya, and that liberation, or moksha, comes from realizing the eternal truth beyond sensory experience. The concept of reincarnation, or samsara, also plays a central role, with the soul undergoing cycles of birth and death until it achieves enlightenment. What makes this connection so fascinating is not just the thematic overlap, but the shared emphasis on introspection and the pursuit of wisdom. Both Plato and the Upanishads advocate for a life of contemplation and self-discovery, urging individuals to look beyond the superficial and seek a deeper understanding of existence. For Plato, this meant engaging in dialectical reasoning and philosophical inquiry, while the Upanishads encouraged meditation and the guidance of a spiritual teacher or guru. Despite their cultural differences, both traditions reflect a universal human yearning to transcend the limitations of the physical world and connect with something greater. The parallels between Greek and Indian philosophies remind us that the quest for truth and meaning is a timeless endeavor, transcending geographical and cultural boundaries. These ancient thinkers, separated by vast distances, arrived at remarkably similar insights about the nature of reality and the human condition. Their works continue to inspire and challenge us, offering profound perspectives on life's deepest questions. As we move forward in our exploration, our next stop takes us to the ancient Romans and the ancient Chinese, where we'll uncover their shared use of aqueducts and advanced engineering techniques. The story of these ancient connections continues to unfold, revealing the threads that bind humanity's past. Now, shifting our gaze to the ancient Romans and the ancient Chinese, we uncover yet another fascinating connection, this time in the realm of engineering marvels. Both civilizations, though separated by vast distances, developed sophisticated systems for managing water, showcasing their ingenuity and mastery of technology. The Romans are renowned for their aqueducts, monumental structures designed to transport water across great distances to cities, baths, and farms. These engineering feats not only supplied water to urban centers, but also symbolized the power and organization of the Roman Empire. Similarly, the ancient Chinese constructed intricate irrigation systems and canals, such as the Dogon irrigation system, which remains in use even today. This system, built over 2,000 years ago, was designed to control flooding and distribute water to agricultural lands, demonstrating a deep understanding of hydraulics and environmental management. What makes this connection particularly intriguing is the possibility of an exchange of knowledge between these two great civilizations. While direct contact between Rome and China was limited, the Silk Road served as a conduit for the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. It's plausible that innovations in engineering, including water management techniques, traveled along these trade routes, influencing both cultures. For instance, the Romans' use of arches in their aqueducts and the Chinese expertise in canal construction may have inspired or reinforced each other's practices. Both civilizations recognized the importance of water as a resource and invested heavily in infrastructure to harness its power, reflecting a shared commitment to improving the quality of life for their people. The aqueducts of Rome and the irrigation systems of China also highlight the role of engineering in shaping the identity of a civilization. For the Romans, aqueducts were not just functional but also symbols of their technological superiority and imperial reach. The Pont du Gard in France and the Aqua Pier in Rome stand as testaments to their engineering prowess. Similarly, the Dogon system in China is celebrated as a masterpiece of ancient innovation, blending practicality with harmony with nature. These achievements remind us that the challenges of managing water, a vital yet unpredictable resource, sparked creativity and collaboration across cultures. As we reflect on this connection, it's clear that the ancient Romans and Chinese shared more than just a need for water. They shared a vision of progress and a determination to overcome the limitations of their environments. Their engineering legacies continue to inspire us, offering timeless lessons in innovation and resilience. And as we move forward, our journey takes us to the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Greeks, where we'll explore their shared use of obelisks and the symbolic significance of these towering monuments. The story of these ancient connections is far from over, and the threads that bind humanity's past continue to reveal themselves in unexpected ways. Turning our attention now to the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Greeks, we uncover a striking connection through their shared use of obelisks, towering stone monuments that carried profound symbolic meaning in both cultures. These slender, four-sided structures, often capped with a pyramidion, were more than just architectural feats. They were powerful symbols of divine connection, authority, and cosmic order. The Egyptians, masters of monumental architecture, erected obelisks as early as the Old Kingdom, dedicating them to the sun god Ra. These towering stones were believed to act as conduits between the earthly realm and the heavens, embodying the sun's rays and the pharaoh's divine right to rule. The most famous examples, such as the obelisks of Karnak and Luxor, still stand as testaments to their spiritual and political significance. The Greeks, though separated by time and geography, adopted the obelisk as a symbol of their own cultural and intellectual achievements. After Alexander the Great's conquest of Egypt, Greek fascination with Egyptian culture grew, and obelisks began to appear in Greek cities, often as trophies of conquest or as markers of cultural exchange. The Greeks reinterpreted the obelisk symbolism, associating it with their own gods and philosophical ideals. For instance, the obelisk at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi was seen as a representation of the god's connection to the sun and the cosmos, mirroring the Egyptian belief in the obelisk as a link between the divine and the mortal world. What makes this connection particularly fascinating is the way both cultures imbued obelisks with layers of meaning. For the Egyptians, they were sacred objects tied to the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, often inscribed with hieroglyphs that told stories of the gods and the pharaohs. For the Greeks, they became symbols of enlightenment and the pursuit of knowledge, reflecting their philosophical inquiries into the nature of the universe. The obelisk's form, its upward-reaching design, resonated with both cultures' aspirations to transcend earthly limitations and connect with the divine. This shared use of obelisks also highlights the broader cultural exchange between Egypt and Greece. The Greeks not only adopted Egyptian architectural forms, but also integrated them into their own artistic and religious practices, creating a unique blend of traditions. The obelisk, in this sense, became a bridge between two great civilizations, each interpreting its significance through the lens of their own beliefs and values. As we continue to explore these ancient connections, we'll next delve into the shared use of mythology between the ancient Greeks and Egyptians, where the stories of Hercules and Horus reveal even deeper ties between these two remarkable cultures. Now, shifting our focus to the ancient Mesopotamians and Egyptians, we uncover another fascinating connection, this time through their development of writing systems. Both civilizations, though geographically distant, independently created some of the earliest forms of written communication: cuneiform in Mesopotamia and hieroglyphics in Egypt. These systems not only revolutionized record-keeping, but also laid the foundation for the way humans would document their thoughts, laws, and stories for millennia. In Mesopotamia, cuneiform emerged around 3200 BCE, making it one of the oldest known writing systems. Using a stylus to press wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets, the Mesopotamians recorded everything from trade transactions to epic tales like the Epic of Gilgamesh. This script evolved from simple pictograms to a more complex system capable of representing abstract ideas and sounds, showcasing the ingenuity of its creators. Similarly, in Egypt, hieroglyphics appeared around the same time, with the earliest known examples dating back to around 3200 BCE as well. These intricate symbols, carved into stone or written on papyrus, served both practical and ceremonial purposes, from administrative records to religious texts. What's particularly intriguing is how both systems reflect a shared human need to communicate and preserve knowledge. While cuneiform and hieroglyphics developed independently, they share striking similarities in their evolution. Both began as pictorial representations of objects and ideas before becoming more abstract and phonetic. For instance, early cuneiform symbols depicted animals, tools, and natural elements, much like the early hieroglyphs that represented birds, plants, and everyday objects. Over time, both systems incorporated symbols to represent sounds, allowing for greater flexibility in expressing complex ideas. The influence of these writing systems extended far beyond their regions. Mesopotamian cuneiform spread across the ancient Near East, influencing the scripts of neighboring cultures like the Hittites and Persians. Similarly, Egyptian hieroglyphics inspired the development of other writing systems, such as the Proto-Sinaitic script, which is considered a precursor to the alphabet used in many modern languages. This cross-cultural exchange suggests that the ancient world was far more interconnected than we often assume, with ideas and innovations flowing along trade routes and through diplomatic channels. As we explore these connections, it's worth considering how these early writing systems shaped the course of human history. They not only allowed civilizations to document their achievements, but also to pass down knowledge, laws, and stories to future generations. The legacy of cuneiform and hieroglyphics reminds us of the enduring power of written language to connect cultures across time and space. Next, we'll delve into the shared use of astrology in ancient Mesopotamia and Greece, where the stars served as a universal language linking distant civilizations. Now, let's turn our attention to the ancient Chinese and Greeks, two civilizations separated by vast distances yet united by their mastery of bronze. This remarkable metal played a pivotal role in shaping their art, warfare, and rituals, offering a fascinating glimpse into how different cultures harnessed the same material for both practical and symbolic purposes. In ancient China, bronze was more than just a metal, it was a cornerstone of cultural identity. The Shang dynasty, which flourished around 1600 BC, is particularly renowned for its exquisite bronze craftsmanship. Ritual vessels, such as the iconic Ding cauldrons, were cast with intricate designs featuring mythical creatures and geometric patterns. These vessels weren't merely decorative, they were central to religious ceremonies, used to offer sacrifices to ancestors and deities. The Chinese believed that bronze connected the earthly realm to the divine, making it a sacred material imbued with spiritual significance. Beyond rituals, bronze also revolutionized warfare in China. Weapons like dagger axes and chariot fittings gave the Shang military a technological edge, showcasing the dual role of bronze as both a tool of power and a medium of artistry. Meanwhile, across the Mediterranean, the ancient Greeks were also harnessing the potential of bronze, though in ways that reflected their own cultural priorities. Greek bronze work reached its zenith during the Archaic and Classical periods, around 800 to 300 BCE. Sculptors like Phidias and Myron created lifelike statues of gods, athletes, and heroes, capturing the human form with astonishing precision. These statues weren't just artistic achievements, they were expressions of Greek ideals of beauty, strength, and divinity. Bronze also played a crucial role in Greek warfare. The hoplite, the quintessential Greek soldier, relied on bronze armor, shields, and spears to dominate the battlefield. The metal's durability and versatility made it indispensable for both protection and offense, shaping the course of Greek military history. What's particularly striking is how both cultures used bronze to bridge the gap between the mundane and the sacred. In China, bronze vessels were often inscribed with dedications to ancestors, serving as a tangible link between the living and the dead. Similarly, Greek bronze statues of gods and heroes were placed in temples and public spaces, embodying the divine presence in everyday life. This shared reverence for bronze highlights a universal human desire to infuse material objects with spiritual meaning. The legacy of bronze in these two cultures extends far beyond their own time. Chinese bronze techniques influenced neighboring regions like Korea and Japan, while Greek bronze artistry set the standard for Western sculpture for centuries. Together, they remind us that even in the ancient world, innovation and creativity transcended geographical boundaries, connecting distant civilizations through shared materials and ideas. Next, we'll explore how the ancient Egyptians and Indians both revered the lotus, a symbol that transcended cultures and continents. Now, let's journey from the world of bronze to the realm of symbolism, where the lotus flower emerges as a shared emblem of spiritual significance between the ancient Egyptians and Indians. This delicate yet powerful symbol transcends geography, appearing in the art, architecture, and religious practices of both civilizations, hinting at a deeper connection that goes beyond mere coincidence. In ancient Egypt, the lotus was more than just a flower. It was a sacred icon deeply intertwined with creation myths and the cycle of life. The Egyptians observed how the lotus bloomed each morning, rising from the murky waters to greet the sun, and closed at dusk, sinking back into the depths. This daily rhythm mirrored their beliefs about the sun god Ra, who is said to emerge from a lotus at dawn, bringing light and life to the world. The lotus became a symbol of rebirth, renewal, and the eternal nature of the soul. It frequently adorned temple walls, crowns, and even the thrones of pharaohs, serving as a visual reminder of divine power and the promise of resurrection. In funerary art, the lotus often appeared alongside depictions of the afterlife, reinforcing its role as a bridge between the mortal world and the eternal. Meanwhile, in ancient India, the lotus held an equally profound place in spiritual and cultural life. Known as the Padma in Sanskrit, the lotus was revered as a symbol of purity, enlightenment, and divine beauty. Its ability to rise from muddy waters and bloom immaculately untouched by the filth below made it a powerful metaphor for spiritual awakening and transcendence. In Hinduism, deities like Vishnu and Lakshmi are often depicted seated on lotus thrones, signifying their divine nature and connection to the cosmos. The lotus also plays a central role in Buddhist iconography, where it represents the journey from ignorance to enlightenment. The Buddha himself is frequently shown seated on a lotus, embodying the ideal of rising above worldly suffering to achieve inner peace. What's fascinating is how both cultures imbued the lotus with similar meanings despite their geographical separation. For the Egyptians, the lotus symbolized the sun's daily rebirth and the promise of eternal life. For the Indians, it represented spiritual purity and the potential for enlightenment. Both civilizations saw the lotus as a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a reminder that beauty and transcendence could emerge from even the most humble beginnings. This shared symbolism suggests a universal human fascination with the natural world and its ability to inspire profound spiritual insights. The lotus also found its way into the art and architecture of both cultures, further cementing its symbolic importance. In Egypt, lotus motifs adorned everything from jewelry to temple columns, while in India, the flower was intricately carved into stone temples and painted in vibrant frescoes. These artistic expressions not only showcased the technical skill of each civilization, but also reflected their deep reverence for the lotus as a sacred symbol. As we reflect on the lotus's role in these two ancient cultures, it's hard not to wonder if there was some form of cultural exchange or if the symbolism arose independently. While direct evidence of contact between ancient Egypt and India remains elusive, the striking parallels in their use of the lotus hint at a shared human impulse to find meaning in the natural world. This connection reminds us that even across vast distances and different belief systems, humanity has always sought to understand the mysteries of existence through symbols that resonate across time and space. Next, we'll explore how the ancient Greeks and Persians both incorporated fire into their religious rituals, uncovering another fascinating link between distant civilizations. Now, let's turn our attention to the ancient Greeks and Persians, two civilizations that, despite their frequent conflicts, shared a profound reverence for fire in their religious practices. Fire, as a symbol of purity, divinity, and transformation, played a central role in the spiritual lives of both cultures, revealing yet another intriguing connection between distant peoples. For the ancient Persians, fire was at the heart of Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions. In Zoroastrian belief, fire was seen as a sacred manifestation of Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of light and wisdom. Fire temples, known as Ateshgahs, were built to house eternal flames that were never allowed to extinguish. These flames symbolized the divine presence and the eternal struggle between good and evil. Fire rituals performed by Zoroastrian priests involved offerings of sandalwood and incense, believed to purify the soul and strengthen the connection between the worshipper and the divine. The Persians viewed fire as a bridge between the earthly and the spiritual realms, a source of guidance and protection in a world filled with moral and cosmic challenges. Similarly, the ancient Greeks incorporated fire into their religious practices, though in ways that reflected their own unique worldview. Fire was central to the worship of Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, whose sacred flame burned in every Greek home and public space. The hearth fire symbolized the unity and stability of the family and the community, and its extinguishing was considered a grave omen. Beyond the domestic sphere, fire played a key role in public rituals and festivals. The Olympic Games, for instance, began with the lighting of the sacred flame at the Temple of Hestia in Olympia, a tradition that continues to this day. Fire was also used in sacrifices to the gods, where offerings were burned to ensure the favor of the divine. The Greeks believed that the smoke from these offerings carried their prayers to the heavens, creating a direct line of communication with the gods. What's fascinating is how both cultures, despite their differences, saw fire as a transformative and purifying force. For the Persians, fire was a symbol of divine truth and moral clarity, a tool for combating darkness and chaos. For the Greeks, it represented the warmth of community, the light of knowledge, and the power of the gods. Both civilizations used fire to connect with the divine, whether through the eternal flames of Zoroastrian temples or the sacred hearths of Greek homes. The parallels in their use of fire suggest a shared human impulse to find meaning in the elements of the natural world. Fire, with its ability to destroy and create, to illuminate and purify, became a universal symbol of spiritual power and transformation. While the Greeks and Persians may have worshipped different gods and followed different rituals, their reverence for fire reveals a deeper connection, a recognition of the sacred in the everyday and the eternal in the ephemeral. As we explore these connections, it's worth considering whether the shared symbolism of fire arose independently or if there was some form of cultural exchange between these ancient civilizations. While direct evidence of such exchange is scarce, the similarities in their practices hint at a universal human fascination with fire as a source of light, warmth, and divine inspiration. This connection reminds us that even in the midst of conflict, humanity has always sought to find common ground in the mysteries of the natural world. Next, we'll delve into the shared use of silk in ancient Chinese and Roman cultures, uncovering another fascinating link between distant civilizations. Now, let's journey across the globe to uncover another remarkable connection, this time between the ancient Chinese and the Mayans. Despite being separated by vast oceans and thousands of miles, these two civilizations shared a profound reverence for jade, a gemstone that held immense symbolic and spiritual significance in their cultures. Both the Chinese and the Mayans saw jade not just as a precious material, but as a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a symbol of power, immortality, and cosmic harmony. In ancient China, jade was considered the stone of heaven, a material so sacred that it was believed to embody the virtues of wisdom, compassion, and courage. The Chinese associated jade with immortality and the afterlife, often crafting intricate burial suits made entirely of jade pieces for their emperors and nobility. These suits, sewn together with gold or silver thread, were thought to protect the soul in the afterlife and ensure its safe passage to the realm of the ancestors. Jade was also used in rituals and ceremonies where it symbolized purity and the connection between humanity and the heavens. The Chinese even believed that jade could influence the natural world, with certain jade artifacts used to communicate with the gods or control the weather. Similarly, the ancient Mayans held jade in the highest regard, viewing it as a sacred stone with life-giving properties. For the Mayans, jade was more valuable than gold, a symbol of fertility, power, and the eternal cycle of life and death. They used jade to create elaborate masks, jewelry, and ceremonial objects, often burying these treasures with their rulers to honor their divine status and ensure their safe journey to the underworld. One of the most famous examples is the jade mosaic mask of the Mayan king Pakal the Great, discovered in his tomb at Palenque. This mask, crafted with exquisite precision, was believed to protect the king's spirit and connect him with the gods in the afterlife. Jade was also used in Mayan rituals where it symbolized the life force and the connection between the physical and spiritual worlds. What's striking is how both cultures, despite their geographical and cultural differences, saw jade as a material that transcended the mundane. For the Chinese, jade represented the harmony of heaven and earth, a symbol of moral integrity and cosmic order. For the Mayans, it embodied the vitality of life and the mysteries of the afterlife. Both civilizations used jade to honor their leaders, communicate with the divine, and navigate the boundary between life and death. This shared reverence for jade raises intriguing questions about the universal human fascination with certain materials and their symbolic meanings. Did the Chinese and Mayans independently arrive at the same conclusions about jade's spiritual significance, or is there a deeper, perhaps even ancient, connection between their beliefs? While direct evidence of contact between these two cultures remains elusive, the parallels in their use of jade suggest a shared understanding of the material's power to connect the human and the divine. As we reflect on this connection, it's clear that jade served as more than just a precious stone. It was a medium through which both the Chinese and the Mayans expressed their deepest spiritual and cultural values. This shared symbolism reminds us that, across time and space, humanity has often found common ground in the natural world, using its treasures to explore the mysteries of existence. Next, we'll turn our attention to the ancient Egyptians and Romans, where we'll uncover another fascinating link in their shared use of obelisks and their symbolic significance. Now, let's shift our focus to the ancient Egyptians and Romans, two civilizations that, despite being separated by centuries, shared a striking architectural and symbolic connection through their use of obelisks. These towering stone monuments, often carved from a single block of granite, were more than just impressive feats of engineering. They were powerful symbols of divine authority, cosmic order, and the connection between the earthly and the celestial. For the ancient Egyptians, obelisks were sacred structures closely tied to their religious beliefs. They were typically erected in pairs at the entrances of temples, symbolizing the rays of the sun god Ra and acting as a bridge between the heavens and the earth. The Egyptians believed that the pointed apex of the obelisk captured the first light of dawn, channeling the sun's life-giving energy into the temple and the surrounding land. These monuments were also inscribed with hieroglyphs, often dedicating them to the gods or commemorating the achievements of pharaohs. The most famous example is the obelisk of Hatshepsut at Karnak, which stands as a testament to her reign and her devotion to the gods. When the Romans encountered Egyptian obelisks during their conquests, they were captivated by their grandeur and symbolic power. Rather than simply admiring them from afar, the Romans transported several obelisks to Rome, repurposing them as symbols of imperial might and divine favor. These obelisks were often placed in public spaces, such as circuses and forums, where they served as focal points for civic pride and religious ceremonies. The Romans even inscribed their own dedications on some of these obelisks, blending Egyptian symbolism with Roman imperial ideology. One of the most iconic examples is the Lateran obelisk, originally commissioned by the pharaoh Thutmose III and later brought to Rome by Emperor Constantius II. It remains the tallest ancient obelisk in the world, standing as a testament to the enduring legacy of these monuments. What's fascinating is how both cultures imbued obelisks with similar meanings despite their different contexts. For the Egyptians, obelisks were deeply spiritual, representing the connection between the divine and the mortal realms. For the Romans, they became symbols of power and continuity, linking their empire to the ancient wisdom of Egypt. This shared reverence for obelisks highlights a universal human fascination with monumental architecture as a way to express cultural identity and spiritual beliefs. The transportation of Egyptian obelisks to Rome also raises intriguing questions about cultural exchange and appropriation. Did the Romans fully understand the spiritual significance of these monuments, or did they primarily value them as trophies of conquest? While the answer may never be clear, the presence of obelisks in Rome serves as a tangible reminder of the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations and their shared desire to leave a lasting mark on the world. As we reflect on this connection, it's clear that obelisks were more than just stone structures. They were powerful symbols that transcended time and culture. Whether standing in the shadow of an Egyptian temple or towering over a Roman plaza, these monuments remind us of humanity's enduring quest to connect with the divine and assert its place in the cosmos. Next, we'll explore another fascinating link between ancient cultures, this time focusing on the shared use of astrology by the Mesopotamians and Greeks. Turning our gaze to the stars, we now explore the shared fascination with astrology between the ancient Mesopotamians and Greeks. Both civilizations looked to the heavens not just for guidance but as a way to understand their place in the cosmos, weaving celestial patterns into the fabric of their cultures. The Mesopotamians, often regarded as the pioneers of astrology, developed intricate systems to interpret the movements of celestial bodies. They believed that the gods communicated through the stars, and their observations laid the groundwork for what would later become the zodiac. By tracking the paths of planets and stars, Mesopotamian priests created detailed records, using them to predict events ranging from harvests to political upheavals. This practice of celestial divination was deeply intertwined with their religious and political life, shaping decisions and rituals. The Greeks, on the other hand, inherited and expanded upon these Mesopotamian traditions, blending them with their own philosophical and scientific inquiries. They adopted the zodiac, a concept rooted in Mesopotamian astronomy, and refined it into the 12-sign system we recognize today. Figures like Ptolemy and Hipparchus further systematized astrology, integrating it into Greek cosmology and philosophy. For the Greeks, the stars were not just divine messengers but also a reflection of the natural order, governed by mathematical principles. This fusion of Mesopotamian celestial knowledge with Greek intellectual rigor created a rich tapestry of astrological thought that influenced both cultures profoundly. What's particularly intriguing is how both civilizations used astrology to bridge the gap between the divine and the mundane. In Mesopotamia, celestial omens were consulted before major decisions, from launching military campaigns to constructing temples. Similarly, the Greeks used astrology to guide personal and political actions, believing that the alignment of stars at one's birth could determine their fate. This shared reliance on the stars highlights a universal human desire to find meaning and order in the chaos of existence. The zodiac itself serves as a fascinating point of connection. The Mesopotamians divided the sky into 12 sections, each associated with a constellation and imbued with symbolic meaning. The Greeks adopted this framework, assigning mythological figures and traits to each sign, creating a system that remains influential to this day. This exchange of ideas underscores the interconnectedness of ancient cultures, as knowledge flowed along trade routes and through conquests, shaping the intellectual landscape of the Mediterranean world. As we reflect on this celestial connection, it's clear that astrology was more than just a tool for prediction. It was a way for both the Mesopotamians and Greeks to explore the mysteries of the universe and their place within it. Their shared reverence for the stars reminds us of humanity's enduring quest to understand the unknown, a quest that continues to inspire us today. Next, we'll uncover another remarkable link between ancient cultures, this time focusing on the shared use of silk and linen by the ancient Chinese and Egyptians. Now, let's shift our focus to the ancient Chinese and Egyptians, two civilizations separated by vast distances yet united by their mastery of textiles. Silk and linen were not just fabrics for these cultures, they were symbols of power, wealth, and divine connection. In ancient China, silk was more than a luxurious material. It was a closely guarded secret, a product of the silkworm's laborious transformation and a cornerstone of their economy. The Chinese believed silk had almost magical properties, associating it with immortality and the heavens. Emperors draped themselves in silk robes, and it became a prized commodity along the Silk Road, connecting China to the wider world. Meanwhile, in ancient Egypt, linen reigned supreme. Made from the fibers of the flax plant, linen was lightweight, durable, and perfect for the hot, arid climate. But it was more than practical, it was sacred. Egyptian priests wore linen garments during rituals, believing the fabric's purity connected them to the gods. Even in death, linen played a crucial role, as mummies were wrapped in layers of fine linen to ensure safe passage to the afterlife. The production of linen was a highly skilled craft, and its quality often reflected one's social status, with the finest linens reserved for the elite. What's fascinating is how both cultures used these textiles to communicate their place in the world. For the Chinese, silk was a symbol of their technological and cultural sophistication, a product so valuable it became a form of currency in trade. For the Egyptians, linen was a testament to their spiritual and artistic achievements, a fabric woven into the very fabric of their society. Both textiles also played a role in diplomacy and trade. Chinese silk found its way to Egypt through intermediaries, while Egyptian linen was highly sought after in distant markets, creating a web of cultural exchange that spanned continents. The shared reverence for these materials highlights a deeper connection between these ancient civilizations. Both saw textiles as more than mere commodities. They were expressions of identity, status, and belief. Whether it was the shimmering threads of Chinese silk or the pristine folds of Egyptian linen, these fabrics tell a story of human ingenuity and the universal desire to create beauty and meaning. As we unravel this thread of history, we're reminded of how even the most everyday objects can reveal profound connections between cultures. Next, we'll explore another intriguing link, this time between the ancient Greeks and Indians and their shared practices of yoga and meditation. Now, let's journey into the realm of the mind and spirit as we uncover a fascinating connection between the ancient Greeks and Indians. While these two civilizations flourished on opposite ends of the ancient world, they shared a profound interest in the inner workings of the human mind and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. Both cultures developed practices that sought to harmonize the body, mind, and soul. Yoga and meditation in India, and philosophical contemplation and asceticism in Greece. These practices, though distinct in form, reveal a striking parallel in their goals and philosophies. In ancient India, yoga and meditation were central to spiritual life. Rooted in the Vedic traditions, these practices aim to achieve self-realization and union with the divine. Yoga, derived from the Sanskrit word meaning to yoke or to unite, was a disciplined system of physical postures, breathing techniques, and mental focus designed to cultivate inner peace and spiritual awakening. Meditation, or dhyana, was a cornerstone of this practice, allowing practitioners to transcend the distractions of the material world and connect with a higher consciousness. The ancient Indian texts such as the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita elaborate on these practices, emphasizing their role in achieving liberation or moksha. Meanwhile, in ancient Greece, philosophers like Pythagoras, Plato, and the Stoics explored similar themes of self-mastery and inner tranquility. While they didn't practice yoga as we know it today, their teachings emphasized the importance of mental discipline and self-reflection. Pythagoras, for instance, advocated for a life of moderation and introspection, encouraging his followers to engage in daily contemplation to purify the mind. The Stoics, on the other hand, developed practices like mindfulness and visualization to cultivate resilience and emotional balance. These Greek philosophies shared a common thread with Indian thought: the belief that true wisdom and happiness come from within through the mastery of one's thoughts and desires. What's particularly intriguing is the possibility of an exchange of ideas between these two cultures. Historical records suggest that trade routes, such as those established by Alexander the Great's campaigns into India, may have facilitated cultural interactions. Greek philosophers like Pyrrho of Elis are said to have been influenced by Indian ascetics during their travels, bringing back ideas that shaped their own philosophical systems. Similarly, Indian texts like the Mahabharata mention the Yavanas or Greeks, indicating a mutual awareness between these civilizations. While direct evidence of a shared practice of yoga or meditation is scarce, the parallels in their spiritual philosophies suggest a deeper, perhaps indirect connection. Both the Greeks and Indians viewed the pursuit of inner peace as a path to understanding the universe and one's place within it. For the Greeks, this meant aligning oneself with the logos, or the rational order of the cosmos, while for the Indians it involved realizing the unity of the individual soul, or Atman, with the universal soul, or Brahman. These shared ideals highlight a universal human quest for meaning and transcendence, transcending geographical and cultural boundaries. As we reflect on this connection, we're reminded of how ancient civilizations, despite their differences, often arrived at similar insights about the human condition. The practices of yoga and meditation, whether in the ashrams of India or the academies of Greece, continue to inspire millions today, offering timeless tools for self-discovery and inner peace. Next, we'll explore another remarkable link, this time between the ancient Egyptians and Mayans, and their shared fascination with pyramids. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most iconic architectural marvels of the ancient world, the pyramids. While the pyramids of Egypt and those of the Maya civilization are separated by thousands of miles and centuries, they share striking similarities that have puzzled historians and archaeologists for generations. Both cultures constructed these monumental structures with remarkable precision, aligning them with celestial bodies and imbuing them with profound symbolic meaning. The pyramids of ancient Egypt, particularly those at Giza, are perhaps the most famous in the world. Built as tombs for pharaohs, these structures were designed to ensure the rulers' safe passage to the afterlife. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, is aligned with incredible accuracy to the cardinal points of the compass: north, south, east, and west. This alignment wasn't just a feat of engineering, it held deep spiritual significance. The Egyptians believed that the pharaoh's soul would ascend to the heavens, joining the gods among the stars. The pyramid's shape, with its four triangular sides meeting at a single point, was thought to represent the rays of the sun, a symbol of rebirth and eternal life. Similarly, the Mayan pyramids, such as those at Chichen Itza and Tikal, were also aligned with celestial events. The Pyramid of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza, for example, is precisely oriented to mark the equinoxes. During these times, the play of light and shadow creates the illusion of a serpent descending the pyramid steps, a representation of the feathered serpent god Kukulkan. This alignment wasn't just for show, it reflected the Mayans' sophisticated understanding of astronomy and their belief in the interconnectedness of the cosmos and earthly life. For the Maya, pyramids were not just temples or tombs, but sacred spaces where the divine and the human realms intersected. What's fascinating is that both cultures, despite their geographical and temporal separation, used pyramids as a means to connect the earthly and the celestial. For the Egyptians, the pyramid was a gateway to the afterlife, a place where the pharaoh could ascend to join the gods. For the Maya, it was a stage for rituals and ceremonies that honored the gods and maintained cosmic order. Both civilizations saw these structures as more than just buildings. They were symbols of power, spirituality, and the eternal cycle of life and death. The construction techniques of these pyramids also reveal intriguing parallels. Both the Egyptians and the Maya employed advanced mathematical and engineering knowledge to build these colossal structures. The precision of their alignments, the scale of their designs, and the labor required to construct them speak to a shared human drive to create monuments that transcend time. While the materials and methods differed, the Egyptians used limestone blocks, while the Maya often built with local stone and stucco. The underlying principles of symmetry, alignment, and symbolism were remarkably similar. As we explore this connection, it's worth considering whether these similarities are purely coincidental or if they hint at a deeper, perhaps universal, human impulse to reach for the heavens. The pyramids of Egypt and the Maya stand as testaments to the ingenuity and spiritual aspirations of their builders, reminding us that even across vast distances and cultures, humanity has often looked to the stars for meaning and inspiration. Next, we'll delve into another fascinating link, this time between the ancient Chinese and Romans, and their shared use of engineering marvels. Now, let's shift our focus to the realm of ideas and explore how two of history's most influential civilizations, the ancient Chinese and the ancient Greeks, developed philosophies that, despite their geographical distance, share striking parallels. Both cultures produced thinkers whose ideas have shaped human thought for centuries, and their legacies continue to resonate today. At the heart of this connection are two schools of thought: Confucianism in China and Stoicism in Greece. Though separated by thousands of miles, these philosophies reveal a shared human quest for wisdom, virtue, and a meaningful life. Confucianism, founded by Confucius in the 6th century before the Common Era, emphasized moral integrity, social harmony, and the importance of relationships. Central to Confucian thought is the concept of Ren, often translated as benevolence or humaneness. This principle encourages individuals to cultivate compassion and treat others with kindness and respect. Confucius also stressed the importance of Lai or proper conduct, which governs everything from personal behavior to societal roles. For Confucius, a well-ordered society depended on individuals fulfilling their duties with sincerity and integrity, creating a harmonious balance between the self and the community. Similarly, Stoicism, which emerged in ancient Greece around the 3rd century before the Common Era, focused on personal virtue, self-discipline, and resilience in the face of adversity. Founded by Zeno of Citium, Stoicism taught that true happiness comes from living in accordance with nature and reason. The Stoics believed that while we cannot control external events, we can control our responses to them. This emphasis on inner strength and emotional resilience resonates deeply with Confucian ideals of self-cultivation and moral responsibility. Both philosophies encourage individuals to look inward, to develop their character, and to strive for a life of purpose and virtue. One of the most striking parallels between Confucianism and Stoicism is their shared emphasis on the role of the individual within society. Confucius believed that a virtuous individual could inspire and uplift those around them, creating a ripple effect of moral improvement. Similarly, the Stoics argued that by cultivating wisdom and self-control, individuals could contribute to the greater good of society. Both philosophies reject selfishness and materialism, instead advocating for a life dedicated to ethical living and the betterment of others. Another fascinating connection lies in their approach to education and self-improvement. Confucius placed great importance on learning and reflection, urging his followers to study the classics and reflect on their actions. The Stoics, too, valued the pursuit of knowledge and the practice of self-examination. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, kept a personal journal, now known as Meditations, in which he reflected on his thoughts and actions, striving to align them with Stoic principles. This practice of introspection and self-improvement is a hallmark of both traditions. Despite their differences in cultural context, both Confucianism and Stoicism offer timeless wisdom on how to live a fulfilling life. They remind us that true happiness is not found in external achievements or material wealth, but in the cultivation of virtue, the pursuit of knowledge, and the commitment to serving others. These philosophies, born in ancient China and Greece, continue to inspire millions around the world, proving that the search for meaning and moral clarity is a universal human endeavor. As we reflect on this connection, it's clear that the ancient Chinese and Greeks, though separated by vast distances, shared a profound understanding of what it means to live a good life. Their philosophies challenge us to look beyond the superficial and to strive for a deeper, more meaningful existence. Next, we'll uncover another intriguing link, this time between the ancient Egyptians and Romans, and their shared use of obelisks as symbols of power and spirituality. Now, let's turn our attention to the world of spectacle and competition, where the ancient Egyptians and Romans found common ground in their love for grand entertainment. Both civilizations, though separated by time and geography, shared a fascination with public games that captivated their societies and left a lasting legacy on the history of entertainment. Among these, gladiatorial combat and chariot racing stand out as two of the most iconic and thrilling forms of public spectacle. In ancient Rome, gladiatorial games were a cornerstone of social and political life. These brutal contests, often held in massive arenas like the Colosseum, pitted trained fighters against one another or against wild animals in battles to the death. The games were not just about bloodshed, they were deeply symbolic, reflecting Roman values of courage, discipline, and the triumph of order over chaos. Emperors and politicians used these events to gain favor with the public, showcasing their power and generosity by sponsoring lavish spectacles. For the Romans, the games were a way to unite the masses, distract from societal issues, and reinforce the empire's dominance. Interestingly, the ancient Egyptians also had a tradition of public games and competitions, though they took a different form. While gladiatorial combat as seen in Rome did not exist in Egypt, the Egyptians held their own versions of athletic contests and ceremonial battles. These events often had religious significance, tied to festivals honoring the gods or celebrating the pharaoh's divine authority. For example, mock battles and wrestling matches were common during festivals, symbolizing the struggle between order and chaos, much like the Roman gladiatorial games. The Egyptians also had a deep appreciation for chariot racing, which was not only a sport but also a display of skill and status. Chariots were prominently featured in military parades and royal processions, highlighting their importance in both warfare and entertainment. The connection between these two cultures becomes even more intriguing when we consider the possibility of cultural exchange. By the time of the Roman Empire, Egypt had become a province under Roman control, and the two civilizations were in close contact. It's plausible that the Romans, known for adopting and adapting elements from the cultures they conquered, may have been influenced by Egyptian traditions of public spectacle. The grandeur of Egyptian festivals and the symbolic use of chariots could have inspired Roman entertainments, blending the two cultures' love for dramatic displays. Both the Egyptians and Romans understood the power of entertainment to unite, inspire, and control their populations. Whether through the blood-soaked sands of the Colosseum or the ceremonial races along the Nile, these ancient societies used spectacle to communicate their values, celebrate their achievements, and maintain social order. The shared emphasis on public games reveals a universal human desire for communal experiences that thrill, awe, and bring people together. As we explore this connection, it's fascinating to see how two great civilizations, each with its own unique traditions, found common ground in their love for grand entertainment. Next, we'll delve into another surprising link, this time between the ancient Mesopotamians and the Chinese, and their shared use of divination practices to seek guidance from the divine. Now, let's shift our focus to the realm of the mystical and the divine, where the ancient Mesopotamians and Chinese found surprising common ground in their quest to understand the will of the gods. Both civilizations, though separated by vast distances, developed intricate systems of divination to seek guidance, predict the future, and make sense of the unknown. Among these practices, the use of oracle bones in China and liver divination in Mesopotamia stand out as two of the most fascinating and revealing methods. In ancient China, oracle bones were a cornerstone of divination, particularly during the Shang dynasty. These bones, often the shoulder blades of oxen or the shells of turtles, were inscribed with questions addressed to the gods or ancestors. The diviner would then apply heat to the bone, causing it to crack. The pattern of these cracks was believed to hold the answers to the questions posed. The inscriptions on these bones are some of the earliest examples of Chinese writing, providing invaluable insights into the beliefs, politics, and daily life of the Shang people. Questions ranged from matters of state, such as the outcome of battles or the success of harvests, to personal concerns like health and family matters. The practice of oracle bone divination reflects the Chinese belief in a close connection between the human and spiritual worlds, where the gods actively influence the course of events. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia, a different but equally profound form of divination was taking shape: liver divination or hepatoscopy. This practice involved examining the livers of sacrificed animals, particularly sheep, to interpret the will of the gods. The liver was considered a sacred organ, believed to be the seat of life and emotion. Mesopotamian priests, known as Baru, would meticulously study the shape, color, and markings of the liver, comparing them to detailed reference texts that outline the meanings of various signs. Like the Chinese oracle bones, liver divination was used to answer critical questions about warfare, agriculture, and royal decisions. The practice underscores the Mesopotamian belief in a universe governed by divine forces, where every event was a message from the gods waiting to be deciphered. What makes this connection between the Mesopotamians and Chinese even more intriguing is the shared purpose behind their divination practices. Both civilizations sought to bridge the gap between the human and divine, using these rituals to navigate uncertainty and make informed decisions. While the methods differed, cracked bones versus livers, the underlying philosophy was strikingly similar: the belief that the gods communicated through signs in the natural world, and that humans could interpret these signs with the right knowledge and skill. This shared reliance on divination highlights a universal human desire to seek meaning and control in an unpredictable world. Whether through the cracks of an oracle bone or the markings on a liver, both the Mesopotamians and Chinese turned to the divine for answers, revealing a profound connection in their spiritual and intellectual pursuits. As we explore these ancient practices, it's fascinating to see how two distant cultures developed such parallel approaches to understanding the mysteries of existence. Next, we'll uncover another remarkable link, this time between the ancient Greeks and Egyptians, as we delve into their shared use of mythology to explain the world around them. Now, let's journey into the realm of myth and legend, where the ancient Greeks and Egyptians crafted stories that not only entertained but also explained the mysteries of the world around them. Among these tales, the stories of Hercules and Horus stand out as striking examples of how two distant cultures developed similar mythological figures, each embodying ideals of heroism, strength, and divine favor. In Greek mythology, Hercules, or Heracles as he was known to the Greeks, is one of the most celebrated heroes. Born to Zeus, the king of the gods, and a mortal woman, Hercules was destined for greatness but also faced immense challenges. His famous 12 labors, which included slaying the Nemean lion, capturing the golden hind, and retrieving the apples of the Hesperides, were tasks of incredible difficulty, designed to test his strength, courage, and ingenuity. These labors were not just feats of physical prowess, but also symbolic journeys of redemption and self-discovery. Hercules' story reflects the Greek ideal of the hero who overcomes adversity through determination and divine assistance, embodying the human struggle against fate and the quest for immortality through deeds. On the other side of the Mediterranean, the ancient Egyptians revered Horus, one of their most important deities. Horus, often depicted as a falcon or a man with a falcon's head, was the god of the sky, kingship, and protection. His story is deeply intertwined with the concept of divine kingship and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. According to Egyptian mythology, Horus was the son of Osiris and Isis, and his life was marked by a fierce battle against his uncle Set, who had murdered Osiris and sought to claim the throne. Horus' eventual victory over Set symbolized the triumph of order over chaos and the restoration of balance to the world. Like Hercules, Horus was a figure of strength and resilience, but his role extended beyond the personal to the cosmic, representing the stability and continuity of the Egyptian state. What makes the connection between Hercules and Horus so fascinating is not just their shared traits as heroic figures, but also the deeper themes their stories explore. Both myths grapple with the idea of overcoming adversity, whether it's Hercules' labors or Horus' battle against Set. They also reflect the cultural values of their respective societies. For the Greeks, the individual hero's journey and the pursuit of glory. For the Egyptians, the divine order and the role of the pharaoh as the living embodiment of Horus on earth. These parallels suggest a shared human fascination with the archetype of the hero, a figure who bridges the mortal and divine realms and embodies the ideals of their culture. As we compare these two mythological figures, it's clear that while the Greeks and Egyptians developed their stories independently, they were both grappling with similar questions about the nature of heroism, the relationship between humans and gods, and the struggle to bring order to a chaotic world. The tales of Hercules and Horus remind us that, despite the vast distances between their civilizations, the ancient Greeks and Egyptians shared a common desire to make sense of their existence through the power of myth. Next, we'll uncover another intriguing link, this time between the ancient Chinese and Romans, as we explore their shared use of silk and its role in trade and diplomacy. Shifting our focus to the ancient trade routes that connected distant civilizations, we now explore the fascinating link between the ancient Chinese and Romans through their shared use of silk. This luxurious fabric, prized for its beauty and rarity, became a symbol of wealth, power, and cultural exchange, weaving together two of the greatest empires of the ancient world. In ancient China, silk was more than just a material. It was a cornerstone of their economy and culture. The Chinese guarded the secrets of sericulture, the production of silk from silkworms, for centuries, creating a monopoly that made silk one of the most sought-after commodities in the ancient world. The Silk Road, a vast network of trade routes stretching from China to the Mediterranean, became the lifeline through which this precious fabric traveled. Silk was not only used for clothing but also for artistic purposes such as painting and calligraphy, and even as a form of currency in some transactions. For the Chinese, silk represented refinement, sophistication, and the pinnacle of their technological and artistic achievements. Meanwhile, in ancient Rome, silk was a status symbol that signified immense wealth and prestige. Roman elites were captivated by the fabric's smooth texture and shimmering appearance, often using it to create extravagant garments that showcased their social standing. However, silk was incredibly expensive due to the long and perilous journey it took to reach Rome from China. This high cost made it a luxury reserved for the upper echelons of Roman society, further enhancing its allure. The Roman demand for silk was so great that it became a significant driver of trade along the Silk Road, fostering economic and diplomatic ties between the two empires. The exchange of silk between China and Rome was not just about commerce, it also played a crucial role in diplomacy. Chinese emperors often gifted silk to foreign rulers as a gesture of goodwill and to establish alliances. Similarly, Roman leaders used silk as a diplomatic tool, presenting it as a token of respect and friendship. This mutual appreciation for silk helped bridge the cultural gap between the two civilizations, creating a shared understanding that transcended language and geography. What makes this connection particularly intriguing is how silk became a medium through which ideas, art, and technology flowed between East and West. Alongside the fabric, the Silk Road facilitated the exchange of knowledge, religions, and innovations, enriching both Chinese and Roman societies. The shared use of silk highlights the interconnectedness of the ancient world, demonstrating how even the most distant cultures could influence one another through trade and diplomacy. As we reflect on the role of silk in connecting ancient China and Rome, we're reminded of the enduring power of trade to bring people together. This remarkable fabric not only adorned the bodies of emperors and elites, but also wove a tapestry of cultural exchange that shaped the course of history. Next, we'll delve into another fascinating connection, this time between the ancient Egyptians and Indians, as we explore their shared use of sacred texts and the profound spiritual insights they reveal. Turning our attention to the spiritual realms of ancient civilizations, we now explore the profound connection between the ancient Egyptians and Indians through their sacred texts. Both cultures placed immense importance on written wisdom, using it to guide their understanding of life, death, and the cosmos. The Vedas of ancient India and the Book of the Dead from Egypt stand as remarkable examples of how these civilizations sought to preserve their spiritual insights for future generations. In ancient India, the Vedas were considered the ultimate source of knowledge, encompassing hymns, rituals, and philosophical teachings. These texts, composed in Sanskrit, were believed to be divinely revealed and served as the foundation of Hindu thought. The Vedas addressed everything from the nature of the universe to the proper conduct of daily life, offering a comprehensive guide to both the material and spiritual worlds. Central to their teachings was the concept of dharma, or righteous duty, which emphasized living in harmony with cosmic order. The Vedas also introduced the idea of reincarnation, suggesting that the soul undergoes a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, influenced by one's actions or karma. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians placed great value on their sacred texts, particularly the Book of the Dead. This collection of spells, prayers, and incantations was designed to guide the deceased through the afterlife, ensuring their safe passage to the realm of the gods. The Book of the Dead was often inscribed on papyrus scrolls and placed in tombs, serving as a spiritual roadmap for the soul's journey. Central to its teachings was the concept of mat, or cosmic balance, which emphasized truth, justice, and harmony. Like the Vedas, the Book of the Dead also addressed the idea of judgment after death, where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of mat to determine their worthiness for eternal life. What makes this connection particularly fascinating is how both texts reflect a shared preoccupation with the afterlife and the moral responsibilities of the living. The Vedas and the Book of the Dead both emphasize the importance of ethical behavior, suggesting that one's actions in life have consequences beyond the physical world. They also reveal a deep reverence for the divine, with both cultures viewing their sacred texts as a means of communicating with higher powers. This spiritual alignment highlights the universal human desire to understand the mysteries of existence and to seek guidance in navigating the complexities of life and death. Beyond their spiritual significance, these texts also showcase the advanced literary and intellectual achievements of both civilizations. The Vedas, with their intricate poetic structures and philosophical depth, demonstrate the sophistication of ancient Indian thought. Similarly, the Book of the Dead, with its vivid imagery and detailed instructions, reflects the Egyptians' mastery of writing and their profound engagement with the metaphysical. Together, these sacred texts offer a glimpse into the shared human quest for meaning and the enduring power of written wisdom to transcend time and culture. As we reflect on the spiritual parallels between ancient Egypt and India, we're reminded of the timeless nature of these questions about life, death, and the divine. The Vedas and the Book of the Dead not only shaped the beliefs of their respective cultures, but also continue to inspire seekers of truth today. Next, we'll uncover another intriguing connection, this time between the ancient Greeks and the Mayans, as we explore their shared fascination with astronomy and the stars. Now, let's journey from the spiritual realms of ancient texts to the vast expanse of the night sky, where the ancient Greeks and Mayans found common ground in their fascination with the stars. Both civilizations, separated by oceans and centuries, developed sophisticated systems of astronomy that not only guided their daily lives but also shaped their understanding of the cosmos. Their shared dedication to observing the heavens reveals a profound connection between these two cultures, one that transcends time and geography. The ancient Greeks, known for their philosophical and scientific achievements, viewed the stars as a source of both wonder and knowledge. Greek astronomers like Hipparchus and Ptolemy meticulously charted the movements of celestial bodies, laying the groundwork for Western astronomy. They believed that the heavens held the key to understanding the natural world, and their observations led to the development of intricate models of the solar system. The Greeks also used their astronomical knowledge to create calendars, which were essential for organizing agricultural activities, religious festivals, and civic events. Their lunar solar calendar, for instance, combined the cycles of the moon and the sun to create a system that balanced celestial precision with practical utility. Similarly, the ancient Mayans were master astronomers who viewed the cosmos as a living, interconnected entity. Their observations of the stars, planets, and constellations were deeply intertwined with their religious and cultural practices. The Mayan long count calendar, one of their most remarkable achievements, was a complex system that tracked vast cycles of time spanning thousands of years. This calendar was not just a tool for measuring days and years, but also a way of understanding the cyclical nature of existence. The Mayans believed that celestial events, such as eclipses and planetary alignments, held profound spiritual significance, influencing everything from agriculture to warfare. Their ability to predict these events with remarkable accuracy speaks to their advanced understanding of astronomy. What makes this connection between the Greeks and Mayans so intriguing is how both cultures used their astronomical knowledge to bridge the gap between the earthly and the divine. For the Greeks, the stars were a reflection of the god's will, and their movements were seen as omens that could guide human affairs. The Mayans, too, believed that the heavens were a realm of divine power, and their priests used celestial observations to communicate with the gods and interpret their messages. Both civilizations saw the cosmos as a mirror of their own spiritual and philosophical beliefs, using astronomy to explore questions about the nature of existence and humanity's place in the universe. Beyond their spiritual and philosophical significance, the astronomical achievements of the Greeks and Mayans also highlight their shared commitment to intellectual inquiry. The Greeks' development of geometric models and the Mayans' precise calculations of celestial cycles demonstrate a remarkable level of mathematical and observational skill. These achievements not only advanced their own societies but also laid the foundation for future generations of astronomers and scientists. The legacy of their work continues to inspire us today, reminding us of the enduring human desire to explore the mysteries of the cosmos. As we marvel at the celestial connections between the ancient Greeks and Mayans, we're reminded of the universal appeal of the night sky. Whether gazing at the stars from the temples of Athens or the pyramids of Chichen Itza, these ancient cultures found in the heavens a source of inspiration, guidance, and wonder. Next, we'll uncover another fascinating link, this time between the ancient Chinese and Egyptians, as we explore their shared pursuit of immortality through alchemy. Now, let's turn our attention to a pursuit that captivated both the ancient Chinese and Egyptians, the quest for immortality through alchemy. This shared fascination reveals a striking parallel between two cultures that, despite their geographical separation, sought to unlock the secrets of eternal life. Alchemy, often seen as a blend of science, philosophy, and spirituality, became a cornerstone of their efforts to transcend the limits of human existence. In ancient China, alchemy was deeply rooted in Taoist philosophy, which emphasized harmony with nature and the pursuit of longevity. Chinese alchemists believed that by refining certain substances, they could create elixirs of immortality. These elixirs, often made from minerals like cinnabar and gold, were thought to purify the body and spirit, granting the drinker eternal life. The legendary figure of Laozi, the founder of Taoism, was often associated with these practices, and texts like the Beipuzi detailed intricate alchemical processes. The Chinese also linked alchemy to their understanding of the cosmos, viewing the human body as a microcosm of the universe. By mastering alchemy, they believed they could align themselves with the natural order and achieve immortality. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians were driven by a profound desire to conquer death. Their alchemical pursuits were closely tied to their religious beliefs, particularly the concept of the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that the soul could achieve immortality through a combination of rituals, spells, and physical preservation. Mummification, one of their most famous practices, was essentially an alchemical process aimed at preserving the body for eternity. They also experimented with substances like natron and gold, which they believed had transformative properties. The famous Egyptian Book of the Dead contains numerous references to alchemical practices, emphasizing the importance of purification and transformation in the journey to the afterlife. What makes this connection between the Chinese and Egyptians so fascinating is their shared belief in the transformative power of alchemy. Both cultures saw alchemy as a means of transcending the physical world and achieving a higher state of being. For the Chinese, this meant harmonizing with the Tao, or the fundamental force of the universe. For the Egyptians, it meant uniting with the gods in the afterlife. Despite their different cultural contexts, both civilizations viewed alchemy as a bridge between the mortal and the divine. The legacy of their alchemical pursuits continues to intrigue us today. While modern science has debunked many of their claims, the philosophical and spiritual insights of ancient alchemy remain relevant. The search for immortality, whether through physical elixirs or spiritual enlightenment, reflects a timeless human desire to overcome the limitations of our existence. As we explore these ancient connections, we're reminded of the enduring power of human curiosity and the lengths to which we'll go in our quest for the unknown. Next, we'll delve into another remarkable link, this time between the ancient Romans and Indians, as we examine their shared use of coinage and its impact on trade and economy. Now, shifting our focus to the ancient Romans and Indians, we uncover another fascinating connection: their shared use of coinage and its profound impact on trade and economy. Both civilizations, though separated by vast distances, developed sophisticated systems of currency that not only facilitated commerce but also reflected their cultural values and political power. In ancient Rome, coinage was more than just a medium of exchange. It was a tool of empire building. Roman coins, often made of gold, silver, or bronze, bore the images of emperors and gods, serving as a means of propaganda and asserting Roman authority across their vast territories. The denarius, one of the most widely circulated coins, became a symbol of Roman economic dominance. Trade routes stretching from Britain to India were fueled by this currency, enabling the exchange of goods like spices, silk, and precious metals. The Roman economy thrived on this interconnected network, with coins acting as the lifeblood of commerce. Similarly, in ancient India, coinage played a crucial role in shaping economic and cultural landscapes. Indian coins, particularly those from the Maurya and Gupta empires, were intricately designed, often featuring symbols of power such as lions, elephants, and deities. These coins were not only used for trade but also as a means of expressing religious and political ideologies. The widespread use of punch-marked coins, followed by more refined minting techniques, highlights India's advanced understanding of metallurgy and economics. Indian merchants trading along the Silk Road and maritime routes carried these coins far and wide, connecting India to distant markets in the Mediterranean and beyond. What makes this connection between the Romans and Indians so intriguing is the way their coinage systems mirrored each other in purpose and innovation. Both cultures recognized the importance of standardized currency in fostering economic stability and expanding their influence. For the Romans, coins were a way to unify their empire and project their power. For the Indians, they were a reflection of their rich cultural heritage and a tool for integrating into global trade networks. The legacy of their coinage systems is still evident today. The concept of standardized currency, pioneered by these ancient civilizations, laid the foundation for modern economic systems. As we explore this connection, we gain a deeper appreciation for how these two great cultures shaped the world of commerce and left an indelible mark on history. Next, we'll explore the shared use of theater in ancient Egypt and Greece, uncovering how dramatic performances and religious festivals brought these civilizations closer together. Turning our attention to the world of performance and spectacle, we find yet another remarkable connection between the ancient Egyptians and Greeks: their shared use of theater as a means of cultural expression and religious devotion. Both civilizations, though distinct in their traditions, recognized the power of dramatic performances to convey stories, honor their gods, and unite their communities. In ancient Egypt, theater was deeply intertwined with religious rituals and festivals. The most famous of these was the annual Opet festival, held in Thebes, where elaborate processions and reenactments celebrated the divine union of the god Amun-Ra with the pharaoh. These performances were not mere entertainment. They were sacred acts meant to reaffirm the pharaoh's divine right to rule and ensure the prosperity of the kingdom. Actors, often priests or temple officials, would portray gods and mythological figures, bringing ancient stories to life for the audience. The use of masks, costumes, and music added to the immersive experience, creating a bridge between the mortal world and the divine. Similarly, in ancient Greece, theater was a cornerstone of cultural and religious life. The Greeks are often credited with formalizing theater as an art form, with the development of tragedy and comedy during festivals like the Dionysia. These performances, held in honor of the god Dionysus, were not only a form of entertainment but also a way to explore complex themes of morality, fate, and human nature. Playwrights like Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides crafted stories that resonated deeply with their audiences, often drawing from mythology and history. Theaters such as the iconic amphitheater at Epidaurus were designed to enhance the acoustics and visibility of these performances, ensuring that every spectator could fully engage with the drama unfolding on stage. What makes this connection between the Egyptians and Greeks so fascinating is the way both cultures used theater to serve dual purposes, as a form of religious worship and as a medium for storytelling and social commentary. For the Egyptians, theater reinforced the divine order and the pharaoh's role as a mediator between gods and people. For the Greeks, it provided a platform to question, reflect, and celebrate the human experience. Despite their differences, both civilizations understood the transformative power of performance, using it to connect their people to something greater than themselves. The legacy of their theatrical traditions continues to influence modern culture. From the grand operas of today to the intimate plays performed in local theaters, the echoes of ancient Egyptian and Greek drama can still be heard. As we explore this connection, we gain a deeper appreciation for how these two great civilizations used theater to express their beliefs, entertain their people, and leave a lasting impact on the world of art and performance. Next, we'll delve into the shared use of engineering in ancient China and Rome, examining how their innovations in aqueducts and monumental structures shaped their societies and influenced future generations. Now, let's shift our focus to the remarkable engineering feats of two of history's most influential civilizations, ancient China and Rome. Despite being separated by vast distances, both cultures developed groundbreaking engineering techniques that not only transformed their societies but also left an indelible mark on the world. At the heart of their achievements were two iconic structures, the Roman aqueducts and the Great Wall of China. These monumental projects reveal a shared understanding of engineering principles and a commitment to solving complex challenges through innovation. The Romans are perhaps best known for their aqueducts, a network of channels and bridges designed to transport water across long distances. These structures were marvels of precision and ingenuity, built to supply cities with fresh water for drinking, bathing, and irrigation. The aqueducts relied on gravity to move water, requiring meticulous calculations to ensure a steady flow over uneven terrain. Some of the most famous examples, like the Aqua Pier and the Pont du Gard, still stand today as testaments to Roman engineering prowess. Beyond their practical function, aqueducts symbolized the empire's ability to harness nature and improve the quality of life for its citizens. Similarly, the ancient Chinese demonstrated extraordinary engineering skill in the construction of the Great Wall. Stretching thousands of miles across rugged landscapes, the wall was built to protect China from invasions and secure its borders. Its construction spanned centuries, with different dynasties adding to and reinforcing the structure. The Great Wall was not just a single wall but a complex system of fortifications, watchtowers, and signal stations. Its builders faced immense challenges, from transporting materials across difficult terrain to designing sections that could withstand harsh weather and enemy attacks. The wall's sheer scale and durability reflect the Chinese mastery of engineering and their determination to safeguard their civilization. What connects these two engineering marvels is not just their grandeur but the shared principles behind their construction. Both the Romans and the Chinese understood the importance of planning, resource management, and adaptability. They employed advanced techniques such as the use of arches in Roman aqueducts and the integration of natural barriers in the Great Wall to overcome geographical obstacles. Additionally, both projects required vast labor forces and centralized organization, highlighting the role of strong leadership and societal coordination in achieving monumental goals. The legacy of these engineering achievements continues to inspire awe and admiration. The Roman aqueducts laid the foundation for modern water management systems, while the Great Wall remains a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. By examining these structures, we gain insight into how two vastly different cultures approached similar challenges with creativity and determination. Their shared commitment to engineering excellence reminds us of the universal human drive to innovate and build for the future. As we conclude our exploration of these 50 strange connections between ancient cultures, we're left with a profound appreciation for the ways in which these civilizations influenced one another and shaped the course of history. From shared myths and artistic motifs to groundbreaking engineering feats, these connections challenge our understanding of the past and invite us to see the world as a tapestry of intertwined stories. If you've enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating explorations. Until next time, keep uncovering the mysteries of our shared heritage. As we wrap up this journey through 50 strange connections between ancient cultures, it's clear that history is far more interconnected than we often realize. From the shared architectural marvels of the Romans and Chinese to the surprising parallels in mythology, art, and science, these links reveal a world where ideas, traditions, and innovations traveled across vast distances, shaping civilizations in ways we're only beginning to understand. These connections challenge the traditional narratives of isolated cultures and invite us to rethink how ancient societies interacted and influenced one another. Each of these 50 connections offers a glimpse into the ingenuity, creativity, and resilience of our ancestors. Whether it's the alignment of pyramids across continents, the spread of spiritual symbols, or the exchange of knowledge through trade routes, these stories remind us that humanity has always been driven by curiosity and a desire to connect. They also highlight the universal themes that bind us: our fascination with the cosmos, our quest for meaning, and our shared need to build, create, and protect. But the mysteries don't end here. History is full of unanswered questions, and every discovery opens the door to new possibilities. What other hidden connections might be waiting to be uncovered? How might these ancient links reshape our understanding of the past and inspire us in the present? We'd love to hear your thoughts on these fascinating connections. Which one surprised you the most? Do you think there are even more links waiting to be discovered? Share your ideas in the comments below. We're excited to hear your perspectives. If you've enjoyed this exploration of ancient history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our next deep dive into the past. Together, let's keep uncovering the mysteries of our shared heritage and celebrating the incredible achievements of those who came before us. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in the next video.